you please come closer? I know you're comfortable, but this is a family thing. I know you're comfortable, but could you please file to the front? We want to get in tight. We want to get in tight, fill in all the empty spaces. Thank you very much. Could you please come in? Move towards the front, please. Thank everybody for coming out to see Sister Souljah. We're going to open up by giving thanks and praises to our ancestors, giving thanks and praises to our Creator. I speak for Reality Speaks when I thank the Most High for gathering all of us here today. And I thank the Creator that we're all healthy enough, and wise enough, and intelligent enough to come and support a Reality Speaks event, to come and hear some words of inspiration and wisdom from my dear sister Souljah. My name is Universal. I'm a Reality Speaks representative, and I'm going to be the Reality Speaks navigator for the night. And let me start off with this. I come before you with the mind state of liberation, coming from a long legacy of battle stars and freedom fighters. I acknowledge my duty to truth and justice as a Reality Speaks representative, and I am a humble servant of my community. To the elders in the audience, may I have permission to continue?
Yes, you may, brother.
Thank you. Now we know that in America, the mass media has been our enemy, one of the enemy's forces to hold us down, keep us blind. So Reality Speaks is here in an attempt, and will not quit until the attempt is successful to mold and shape our people's minds into the direction of saving us and preparing us for the war that we must fight. The war that we must be active in at all times. So Reality Speaks is an organization of young brothers and sisters who has a desire and determination to be our media, to be the media for you. Now all of y'all can come to see Sister Souljah. That's the one who we all remember a few years back said that we are at war.
That's right, that's right.
Now when I look into everyone's eyes, I don't see the eyes that know that we are at war. I see eyes that maybe come to be entertained. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm looking at people who are ready to organize, no matter how many people in here. If we have 3 people in here, we got to be ready to organize. All right? So we got a strong brother that's going to come up and give you an example of how Reality Speaks is here to serve you. This brother is known by Reality Speaks as the brave warrior who searches for truth in the spirit of Nat Turner. I repeat that. He is a brave warrior who searches for truth with the spirit of Nat Turner. Y'all know who Nat Turner is and was, and he lives on through this brother that I'm about to bring on right now. His name is Jabari Murata Natur. He is a humble servant of you. So welcome him as your own and bring him on with a warm round of applause. Come on, my brother.
I come before you with the mind state of liberation, coming from a long legacy of battle stars and freedom fighters. I acknowledge my duty to truth and justice as a Reality Speaks representative. I am a humble servant of my community. Elders, may I have permission to speak?
You do, brother.
All right, thank you. to Reality Speaks Tubman City News.
That's right.
We call this Tubman City News because in our New World Order, we're going to be taking over the whole United States of America and renaming it with our heroes and our sheroes. And as we rename these cities with our sheroes and heroes, we're going to be functioning from our own reality, that African-centered reality, not that European reality. That only gets us in trouble. So we decided that we're going to take over Baltimore City News. Now, just a quick survey just to see where your heads is at. How many people here think that we need a black nationalist on the scene news squad? Raise your hand. All right. How many people just want to keep listening to this lying cracker media who's always cracking lying stories on the minds of our people? How many people want that? All right. How many people just don't know what they want to listen to?
Come on.
All right. For those who said that they will support it, this is what you can do. Tell all of your friends about Tubman City News. And the next time there's trouble in your community, you call Tubman City News, and we'll show up on the scene. And if the white reporters are there, we'll tell them you've been doing a horrible job. There's a new sheriff in town, and we'll be taking over from here. So take your pens and pads and leave. We'll be taking over from here. Now, what we'll be adding in Tubman City News, we're going to be giving a body count. Now, I know we don't want to hear things like this, but we got to keep it real, because some folks get caught up in just reading books all the time. There's nothing wrong with reading books, but you got to take that knowledge and take it to the streets. Right. And you got to keep it with reality, you know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to give a little statistics. Since our last lecture, February the 22nd, up until this date, March the 14th, there has been about 15 murders in our community. That ain't even a whole month. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Who knows during that time how many people were stabbed, shot? You know what I'm saying? Because it's shootings every night. And think about worldwide. If that's just in Baltimore City, think about worldwide. How many of us are dying every day? And it's a shame. So Reality Speaks Tubman City News, we're going to be bringing you those type of statistics the best we can. That's why we need to build our clientele. All right? Our main story for the day is going to be the case of Sean Freeman. Y'all familiar with that?
Yes. No, you're not, bro. No, you're not.
All right? Now, this case is a difficult case to report because it's a lie. I mean, you don't know what to believe. And what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to try to break the case down to you the best I can because the story is so inconsistent, it's just hard to report. Now, the story is, and these are basically facts I'm reporting now, that Brother Sean was sitting on the steps with his little son, blowing bubbles. And the police got a tip that he had a gun. So Brother Sean, they pulled up on Brother Sean, and so he started to go into the house. And as he went into the house, the police came in, boom, kicked down his door. And then in the hallway, nobody really knows what happens from there. Now that's a conflicting story. Some people, the police say in one report that Sean was running up the step, about a quarter up the step, and then the police chased him and grabbed him from his left-hand side, and then they fell down the steps. Just them two. Another report said he ran up the steps and 3 policemen fell down the steps. You know what I'm saying? What are we to believe in this case? Now, another question in this case was the body moved? And let me first say, Sean never fired one shot at these police. No, that's a fact. He didn't fire one shot at them. They did all of the shooting. They shot themselves and they killed our brother.
That's right. That's what they did.
Now, one of the questions is, was the body moved?
Yes.
Sean was supposed to be shot and laying at the bottom of the steps, and some people said that the body was moved. Now, was it or was it not? Now, I went to Sean's mother's house and interviewed the family. This is how I got a lot of these questions and all. Okay? Now, some people say Sean may have never had a gun. They said the gun that he may have been struggling over is the police gun. And for various reasons, some people think that Brother Sean could have been set up. Now, I can't report on that right now. I'm not the Baltimore Sun. I'm not going to report on nothing that I don't know about. You know? Another question was, did Brother Sean die instantly? The police sergeant told the father of Sean, Sean's father, that he died instantly. But another report says that Sean got shot one time and then he continued to struggle. So these crackers going to keep lying. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to tell the truth. This is why we need that black nationalist on the scene squad. They're not going to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? And another thing about this case was what white folks were saying about this case. And before I go there, let me just read to you how these crackers lie. Now this is the first article after the shooting that night in the Sun. All right? And this is what it reads. A man shot and wounded 2 Baltimore City police officers last night. That's a lie right there. So this is the kind of stuff they write. And let me tell you another thing that disturbed me in this. Your mayor, Kurt Schmoke, he said the actions they took was appropriate. They ought to be commended. And once the facts get out, the facts get out, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look, Kurt Schmoke should have kept his mouth shut if he didn't know what he was talking about. Should have kept his mouth shut. Another thing about this case is what the white folks were saying about Sean. White folks thought the total opposite of black people, as they always do, you know? Now, it's a cracker, Alan Carell. Y'all familiar with him? He had this cracker so crazy, he called Sean's mother and asked her was she proud of the way that she raised her son on air. These crackers are sick. The one thing he kept saying was Sean was a criminal. They kept talking about Sean's so-called record, like that justified what they did. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you right now, white folks should keep their mouths shut because white folks have committed 1 billion quadrillion crimes on this planet Earth. Every time you see a white man, you should be reaching for your gun, your sword, or whatever.
You only telling the truth? Engage it, brother.
We're going to move on to our commentary for the day. We're going to talk about the movie Rosewood. Rosewood gets 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up for Rosewood. Although Rosewood was reported to be 3 times worse than that actual movie. You know, but it still showed you how sick white folks was. And one of the things that I like about the movie was Sylvester. Sylvester was a soldier. You know, Sylvester said, look, we need to organize. These crackers ain't coming up in here running us out of here. We got to organize. But the preacher wanted to calm him down. You know? Now, there's nothing wrong with preaching, but you got to be organizing when you're preaching and singing. There's nothing wrong with the preaching. So then they wound up all getting ran out of their hometown because they didn't organize. That should be a lesson from Rosewood, you know? And we need to organize ourselves. Brother Kwame Ture said the reason that the CIA, the FBI, the DEA can do what they do to us is because we are not organized.
Go ahead, brother.
One thing that bothered me was I was listening to 92Q, and we send 92Q and Frank Ski flyers all the time. And 92Q, Conan has one of the largest listening audience going at 9 o'clock. Why won't he play Reality Speaks? All he want to do is listen to people talk about we dying. Well, we trying to organize. We young people that's trying to organize. Y'all need to call him and ask him why he won't give us no play. Him and Frank Ski. But I tell you what they do play. They play the Shake Your Booty for the clubs. They advertise for clubs all the time. What about organizing? What about stopping the killing? So brothers and sisters, in ending, we ask you to please support Tubman City News, or the white media will bring you to a snooze. Brothers and sisters, I thank you for listening to me, Jabbar Reed, Reality Speaks, Reality Spokes. Tubman City News ain't gonna be no damn joke.
Give it up for that true Reality Speaks representative one more time. All right. Hopefully everybody's spirit's a little lifted up. I want to get some family participation. See how much in tune we are with our melanin. How the Warriors feeling? All right, this is the response. I'm going to ask you, how the Warriors feeling? Your response has to be, the spirit is strong, definitely strong. How the Warriors feeling? How the Warriors A little bit. How the Warriors feeling?
We're going to take it a little further. I'm going to say how the Warriors feeling. And you're going to say, spirit is strong, definitely strong. And I'm going to say, can't stop. And you're going to say, won't stop until all my people are free. That's right. Let's get this. How the Warriors feeling? Spirit is strong, definitely strong. Can't stop. Won't stop until all my people are free. No, we can get that. We can get that. We can get that. We can get that. Let's try that again. How the Warriors feeling? Spirit is strong, definitely strong. Can't stop. Won't stop. All right, we're gonna have to get it. I want this auditorium to be full with the sound of our spirit. How the Warriors feeling? Spirit is strong, definitely strong. Can't stop. Won't stop until all my people are free.
Can't stop.
Won't stop
until all my people are free. Can't stop.
Won't stop
until all my people are free. Can't stop. Until all my people are free. Come on. Can't stop. Until all my people are free. Come on. Can't stop. Look, we can't wake up and resurrect no dead people if we sleep. We got to be alive if we're going to do what we're talking about doing.
That's right.
What you reading about, what you learn about, if you want to make reality, you want to change black people's condition, you got to have a high spirit.
That's right.
Yeah, you in this auditorium sitting down. But yet and still we got to be active. Because that's what it's all about, the work. Reality Speaks making it real. We hit the streets. We hit the streets. We're talking to brothers and sisters that's out there selling the drugs, doing the drugs. Brothers and sisters is waiting for us who are awake and ready to wake them up. Because when we talk to these brothers, when we talk to these sisters, they respond with warmth. And we respond with relief like, I'm glad y'all brothers out here doing this. I'm glad y'all sisters out here doing this. We had our megaphone out there on the corners, on the streets, talking to the brothers and sisters. They came up. Look, can I get that megaphone? Look. Y'all niggas out here too cruddy. Are y'all selling drugs with crust all over y'all mouth and everything? How long you think we're going to be able to do this? You know, these brothers that's out there doing it, but they know what's up. We got to organize. Right. So we're going to bring on another strong Reality Speaks representative. This sister has a compassion for the healing of our people. We must be healed today because we are sick people. She has a desire for us to be free. She is a motivator and she gives us inspiration. And that's what all of us need, inspiration and motivation. And that's one of the many strong characteristics of the black woman. She inspires and motivates the black man to get out there and do what he got to do. Brothers, just put your ego aside and listen. I have a problem with it too sometimes. My ego get the best of me too. But I know what's up. I know what we got to do. Our sisters know what we got to do too. You see what I'm saying? We got to work together. So we're going to bring on this strong Reality Speaks representative. Bring on your sister Tacola. Come on, give her a round of support.
Thank you. I stand before you with a mind state of liberation, coming from a long legacy of battle stars and freedom fighters. I acknowledge my duty to truth and justice as a Reality Speaks representative, and I'm a humble servant of my community. Elders may have permission to speak.
Yes.
The black nation needs to destroy the root of its most complicated problems, or the root will grow back and choke the life out of its progress.
That's right.
I'm not going to stand here and tell you about the conditions that your people are in, because you already know. I'm not going to stand here and give you some graphic pictorial description about the conditions that your people are in, because you heard them all, plus you already know.
Come on.
I'm not going to stand here and tell you too much of anything, because you already know, don't you? You know what we need to do. You're just too lazy and too scared to do it.
Tell me, sister. Come on.
Now I need you to tell me, why are you so lazy? You see, I know you black people. You can bring about and create wonders right at the last minute. You can pull anything off. I've seen you. Now, if you can do so much in such a short amount of time, imagine what you can do if you start planning right now. And not just planning, but actually mobilizing your plan into action. Imagine in 10 years what we can accomplish working as a family unit.
Think about it. Think about it.
Wait on the top.
I mean, a term paper, let me see, income taxes, a birthday, something like that. But your life, you people are procrastinating, playing Russian roulette with your life. Y'all need to wake up and check what time it is out there. Y'all need to wake up and check what time it is out there. And what about your children? What are you teaching them? Everything in this system is generated towards pacifying you to your grave. And here you are buying into it. Most of you, that is. I got my Versace, my Lexus, my Beam, and my Benz. Ain't got a pot to piss in. Don't know how nothing under the sun is made. Y'all know how to work them jobs you can't move but too high up in. You can't make but too much money in. You know how to buy up everything, but you don't know how to make nothing. Y'all kill me.
Keep it real, sister.
And poor little black babies, as innocent as can be, growing up believing in the same lie you chose to believe in about some American dream. Get real, more like an American nightmare. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you what it is that you need to do. God damn it, you know what it is you need to do. You know what it is you need to do. You know what we need. We need unity. We need to learn how to love each other again. We need to learn how to support each other again. We need to learn how to work together again, to respect each other again. I hate ignorant-ass Negroes who go around giving more respect to the cracker boy before he do his own people. A lot of these Negroes need a check-up from the neck up. And some of you in here do too. The healing starts right here, y'all. It starts right in this room, right here, right now. I am not going to stand up here and tell you what it is that you need to do. You know what you need to do. What the hell are you afraid of? Don't you know that your choices are slim? You have exactly two choices. Look, if someone was starving and you gave them a cracker, they would swear to you that was the best damn cracker ever in their life, wouldn't they? They would. Wouldn't they?
That's right.
You have been starving, aching, slaving, all at the same time to be, to know, to have equality to Mr. Bobo. And when he gave you a piece, you thought that was the best shit you ever had. Well, like Malcolm said, you've been hoodwinked, bamboozled. It's just a cracker. These motherfuckers, excuse my French, are handing you down the same scraps they handed you from yesteryears. It's an upgrade from chillin', so y'all satisfied with that. But it's still scraps to them. Y'all need to wake up. Y'all need to wake up. You should feel humiliated. You really should, because you are the only race who can heal the world. Y'all don't understand that. You are the only race who can heal the world. That is no joke. I'm not just saying that. And if you are in your studies, you would know what I'm trying to say. You are the only race who can heal the world. The entire universe is out there waiting for you to stand up and to save it. You black man, black woman, what you gonna do? Don't you know that your choices are slim? You have exactly two choices, to either do something or not to do anything at all. There is no in between. We are talking about your life. I don't need to tell y'all what they out there doing in Cherry Hill and all those other projects, experimental grounds. Hello? Did it register yet? The project, experimental grounds. And look what they did to poor Sean. Look what they did to Sean. Look what they did to Sean. Murder in the first degree. What you doing about it? Nothing, because it ain't you and yours, right? But just as long as you allow them to continue to do things like this and get away with it, it is you and yours. Who's to say you ain't going to be next? And we all family anyway. It is you and yours.
That's true.
That's right. Y'all need to wake up. Ain't no Messiah going to jump out of the sky and save your black butts.
Wake us up.
That's right. Y'all need to wake up.
Really?
Some of y'all, our people in the past have been so, I can't even say it, y'all, punks. Y'all would let somebody drop a bomb on your own black babies before you even stand up and think to fight the man dropping the bomb, wouldn't you? And don't say you wouldn't, because you do it now and you did it in the past. You wouldn't even sacrifice your life and a little scraps handed to you off the table by Mr. Bobo to save your own baby. Damn. I don't care about all that intellectual bullshit you talking. I want to know what you doing.
That's right.
I don't care about your African name and what it means. I want to know, what are you doing? I do not care about what you got and who you know. I want to know, what are you doing, goddammit? What are you doing about the conditions of your people?
We for real.
That's right, bro.
We serious. You know? A lot of times we come, I mean, don't be fooled by this, you know what I'm saying? We gonna get our building soon.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, this might be a theater, but we're not here acting. You know what I'm saying? So look, our guest tonight needs no introduction. She's been on the front line as a warrior for her people. She also recognizes and sticks by her duty to truth and justice. She don't know it yet, but we made her an honorary member of Reality Speaks. Because to be a member of Reality Speaks, all you have to do is live up to your duty to truth and justice. That's all you have to do. She's doing that. She speaks reality. She stands up for African people in America and all over the world. She is an educator and a true warrior for liberation who demands that we give and accept no disrespect. So look, let's bring her on with a soul chant. Nice soul chant, get us working here. Let me hear you say it. Souljah, 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 Souljah. Give a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank the brothers and sisters from Reality Speaks for the invitation to be able to speak to you tonight. I don't really know them, but they wrote me a letter and asked me to come. And I knew that they were young people who were making an attempt to do something dramatically different than what is going on every day in the urban community. And this is the reason why I agreed to come. Many of you may or may not notice that I'm kind of perplexed tonight because of what's going on in the United States of America with hip-hop. And for the past 2 years, I've been working as the executive director of Daddy's House Social Programs, which is the not-for-profit wing of Bad Boy Entertainment. So I work for Sean Puffy Combs, and what I do is I take a certain percentage of the overall earnings of Bad Boy Entertainment and design programs for the community in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area. So right now we have a program for children. We have 100 regular participants. We meet every weekend at Columbia University where we lease space. And they learn reading, writing, arithmetic, geography, culture, manhood, womanhood training, and computer literacy. It's been interesting for the past 2 years because on one hand you have the record company and the music, and on the other hand you have the actual community service, which is the area that I'm in. And I think that there is an obvious crisis in the ability of young black boys
to make a successful transition into manhood, and young black girls to make a successful transition into womanhood. And the shameful thing about it is that if you make an attempt to correct the crisis as you are trying to move forward, there is another force that is trying to keep you from moving at all. And I thought that was why it was a good point that the brother raised about the radio station, that the radio stations across the country are serving as a narcotic to kind of lull the community to sleep and to decide what is going to be on the minds of young black boys and girls. And it is a deadly type of thing that goes on, because you may not be able to point out exactly what they're saying that is wrong, but it is actually what they're not saying that is wrong, and what is not included, the information that is not being aired, the programs that are not being exposed, the leadership that does not have access. And that is what is wrong with the entire situation. What I would like to do tonight is not give a lecture. I would like to give a discussion, which I think would be healthier at this point in time, because I believe that a lot of people probably have a lot of things on their mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about my background so that you can know what I am qualified to talk about and what I am not qualified to talk about. And then after that, I'm going to open up the floor for the discussion that I think hopefully will be very fruitful. And any question that you have that I'm qualified to answer, I certainly will take my time and patiently address each issue that you raise. As most of you already know, I was born in New York, lived the earlier part of my life in what we call the ghetto, the projects. At about 12 or 13 years old, I moved out to Jersey, not because my financial situation improved, but because my mother was trying to get us out of the projects. So we moved into somebody else's house, and for all intensive purposes, we might as well have been considered to be homeless, because it wasn't our house, and it was just some place that we had to stay. At the age of, I'd say, about 13 years old, I started working on the school newspaper, and it gave me an opportunity to learn how to research, how to find out what's going on, how to find out who's in charge, how to find out who's in control, what the budget is. And see, all of these things are important, because what happens is you might be confronted with a problem in your community, but if you don't know how to research the problem, you can get as mad as you want to get, but you will not be able to develop a solution because of an inability to get to the root causes of the condition. So what I learned at a very early age is that every city has a government. Every government has a budget. The budget is generated through the taxes that the people in the city pay. And the reason why the majority of African people and Latino people are on the outside of the consideration of that budget, of course we know it's white supremacy and racism, but it is also because we are unaware of how the city is structured, how the power dynamics play out, and we are in such an incredible struggle to just live and pay our bills that we leave the store unmanaged. So the money is being spent not on you, not for you and not by you, although you are the ones that gave the money in the first place. So if you have a community and you wonder why you are not in control of the sanitation contracts, or why you are not in control of the construction work contracts, or why your husband lives in the community but can't find a job in the community, or why the police in your community don't look like you even though they are policing your community, or why your husband can't be the police in your community so that he doesn't accidentally shoot the next door neighbor because he lives next door and understands who the neighbor is, who the person is, and what goes on in that community. So at a young age, I learned, and I hope for all of the young people out there that you also learn, that it is important to not simply get upset, but to be able to activate your mind to research and find out exactly what is going on so that you will have the skill to analyze and synthesize information and develop solutions that work. One of the feelings that I always felt living in the ghetto was a sense of, I need to know who's in power because I need to know how I can get power because I need to be in control of the decisions that affect my life. And the way that I got to that mind state was growing up on welfare. You know, you have this woman that would come to your house and she would have to ask your mother about her. Is she married? Is there a man there? Does she have a boyfriend? Does he have a job? How much money did he give her? Did she receive any gifts from her grandparents? This is how the welfare system operated when I was a child. And then we would have to go to the food stamp office and you'd have to answer 100 more questions. You know, it would be a very embarrassing thing. There was no privacy. You know, somebody would be blurting out your situation, and you know, you just were always feeling like half of a person. And it was almost like somebody else had to hold your money for you and decide for you what you wanted to do with your money. They were the parents and you were the children. And even though my mother was 30 or 35 or however old she was at the time, she was still regarded as a child and an ineffective leader of her family. So I learned at an early age that it was important to understand how to get power so that I could get in control over my life and over the life of the people that I love, and ultimately over the lives of the community that I live in. So at the age of 16, I went away to the United States House of Representatives and did an internship in one of the offices of a Republican congressperson. And I was what you call a legislative intern, and I was able to see how legislation is made, how bills are written, how laws come into effect, how debates are argued on the House floor, how events are reported from Washington, D.C. So even though I understood that the Republicans were no friends of mine, and even though I wasn't deluded into believing that the Democrats were necessarily my friends, I understood at a young age that there was a need for me to be there so that I could understand how power rules and how power controls and how power moves, because you could overthrow something and then be in charge and then not even know what to do at that point, right? You could be so angry at a boss, finally get them out of the way, and then not know how to be the boss. So part of being concerned, pissed off, disgusted is also being in training so that you will know what to do when the time comes for you to be in a position of leadership, so that you won't be as bad as the person that you were disgusted with in the first place, and so that you can develop a system which is better than the system that relegated you to the position of powerlessness in the first place. After coming back from the House of Representatives, I completed Cornell University preparatory school, and what that was for advanced high school students that wanted to earn college credits before they even got into college. And this was important because, see, what happens for all of the high school students out there is that at your high schools, your guidance counselors have information about programs, about science grants, about computer technology training centers, about all types of things. And if you don't happen to ask about it, they will conveniently not tell you, and you will not know. And see, what will happen is they will pull aside the students who they feel should get the benefits, and they will normally be the white students, and they will send them to those programs. And you will be in class wondering why the white students are so advanced, and you'll be thinking maybe it's true that they are better than us, when the actual fact is that they have been better trained and better educated on purpose so that they could grow up to be the rulers of you instead of you growing up to be the rulers of yourself. So when I attended Cornell University Preparatory, I attended it with some of the children of the wealthy and powerful corporate heads of the United States of America. And believe me, it was not an easy thing to endure because we were completely different types of people. But I understood the necessity at a young age to be disciplined, to understand that you might not like school, that you might not like to know certain things, but there is a necessity to discipline yourself and observe and learn and study and read and analyze as much as you can so you can gain as much information as you can so you can come back to your community and pass it on to your people who desperately need it. After completing Cornell University Preparatory, I graduated from high school and entered Rutgers University, and I majored in American History and African Studies. During my freshman summer at Rutgers University, I went away to Europe to study at the University of Salamanca, which is a university which is located in Spain. And all of the classes that I studied in Europe were taught in Spanish. Now, the important thing about being at the University of Salamanca was that students came there to be trained from all around the entire world. So it gave me an opportunity to sit down and to talk to people who were students during the Middle East crisis, Palestinian students, South African students, Russian students, people from all around the world. So it helped me to understand, and I would like to help you to understand as young people, that everything that goes on in this world is not just limited to the block that you live on. Everything that goes on in this world has international ramifications. Why is this important for you to understand? To the young people, I'm saying this because one of the most common problems in hip-hop, as I talk to people like Sean Puffy Combs and Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, the most common problem that they have is that they don't understand how powerful they are. And they don't understand that what they do as one black man affects the entire international community. Hell, if Puff Daddy says wear something, the Japanese kids in Japan are wearing it.
Tell the truth.
The Australian kids are wearing it. Kids in New Zealand are wearing it. Some kids in your neighborhood are killing so that they can wear it. Right? So, understanding politics, whether you like politics or not, whether you want to watch the news at night or not, is essential for the development of your young mind so that you can understand that within your hand and within your grasp and within your mind is the power that can ultimately shake or rearrange the equation of what happens in this world. Who would have ever thought that some little black boy like Biggie Smalls from Brooklyn could get on the mic and have the whole world rocking to whatever thing came out of his mouth? And the same way he opened his mouth and said certain things, he could have opened his mouth and said something else. But if you as young people think that because you are young, you have the right to play, because you are young, you have the right to have fun, because you are young, you're supposed to be joking and partying and smoking and sleeping around just because you are young, you are completely fooling yourself, because this life is serious. And if you don't make decisions as young people while you are in a decision-making mode, if you don't make plans now, you will be controlled and dominated for the rest of your entire life. See, once you travel around the world, it gives you an opportunity to see other people who look just like you. So when you get to London, you are so shocked to see all of the black people who look just like you in Brixton, right? In England. When you get to Portugal, you are so shocked to see all the black people who look like you in Portugal and France and throughout the entire continent of Europe. And what happens is, if you're smart, you start to feel powerful, because you recognize that it's not just your boys on your block, your girls that you be chilling with. It's brothers and sisters that look like us everywhere that we go. Now, after I completed my studies at the University of Salamanca, I dedicated myself to always finding out about any program that the university offered wherein I could travel. And if you are a university student, there are lots and lots of programs at your university which will give you an opportunity to travel. Even if you do not have money, if you are academically serious, you can get scholarships to be able to travel the world. Because remember now, I already told you I was on welfare. In my 5 years of school, my mother sent me $5. Okay, I already told you I was broke. But all of the places that I was able to travel in the world was because I had the ability to think, I had the ability to write, I had the willingness and the discipline to study, and I could always challenge whether or not I would be allowed to go based on the fact that I was qualified but poor. I was qualified but financially poor. But you will never be in a position to argue for your inclusion if you are not qualified and poor. And you will have no excuse for being qualified as long as the public library system is free and books are available and elders live in your community who you can talk to and learn from. As a result, I traveled to England, to Spain, to France, to Portugal, to Holland, to Finland, to the former Soviet Union. While I was in the Soviet Union, the majority of people who I met thought I was from Cuba. And whenever they met me, they said, "Oh, you're from Cuba." And because I didn't know at that time, I was young and I was learning about the world, I would say to myself, as black as I am, why is everybody asking me, am I from Cuba? What is going on? And I learned for the first time that the majority of people in Cuba look like this. Black like me. Now, y'all know when they show you Cubans on TV, they don't show you. Y'all know they don't show you no black people that look black like me. And so it opens up your eyes and it opens up your mind and it gives you the ability to feel powerful. Whereas if you only stay on your own block, you're not going to feel powerful. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You'll be like, damn, she's still drunk, he's still high, they still broke, they still poor, he's still robbing, he's still smoking, he's still killing, they still going to jail, she's still pregnant. So your mind has to have the ability to travel, and your eyes have to have the ability to see something different in order for you to bring about a change within yourself, and in order for you to be able to return to your community and create a new vision of life where you come from. My sophomore year at Rutgers University, I went away to Southern Africa, and I worked at a medical center in Zimbabwe in a village called Mtepa. And the project was for us to build a medical center which reflect the traditional life of the people in the area that we were working in. Because they had built hospitals that looked like European places, so none of the Africans would go to the hospital. So they had figured out that they couldn't just come in with an alien culture and just start building things up and telling people to go and trust these people to inject you with all type of stuff. And what they were trying to do now was trying to make a combination of the African healing process and some of the so-called European technological advances, quote unquote, and make an environment in which African people would be more comfortable in getting some of the medical cures that they had, quote unquote, that they had to offer. When I went to Africa, I think the most important thing for everybody to know, since every time you see Africa on TV, it's just death and hunger and poverty and war, is that you will fly to Africa on a plane. You will land in a city. In the city, there will be factories, universities, government officials, there'll be libraries, buildings, there'll be normal, regular civilization. When you leave the city, you end up in the suburbs. In the suburbs, there'll be trees and houses, mansions, and, you know, children playing and bicycles and all types of stuff. And when you go out into the rural areas, you will see people who live in traditional type of housing, which are huts, and they have mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers and children and families. So when you see on TV just, you know, these white people holding our babies begging for 50 cents, when you see that, don't think that that is the quintessence of Africa, because it isn't. And there is a reason why you are never shown the beauty of Africa. Because while they neglect to show it to you, you then assume all of the negative things that they want you to assume. And then you don't continue to do any research about yourself, your culture, and the continent. And as you are ignoring your home base, they are raiding it. It's kind of like an old con game. You know, I distract you while somebody else goes in your pocketbook. So what is happening on the continent of Africa is that people from all over the world are moving in, opening up businesses, getting rich. They are taking the uranium, the gold, the diamond, the magnesium, because all of the wonderful natural resources that the world needs to fuel all of these technological advances are all located on the continent of Africa. So as black students in universities in America assume that America is civilized and Africa is uncivilized, they don't even consider it an option to go into fields of studies which will affect the development of the continent of Africa, which is more than 3 times bigger than the entire United States and North America. And therefore, you have people from Sweden over there writing books about us and studying us. You have anthropologists and scientists and military scientists and people building up things that they profit from, that they will dominate you with as we ignore all of the fields and businesses and trade and commerce available in our own continent, within our own people. See, because what happens sometimes is, sometimes we think that it's revolutionary to be broke. There is nothing revolutionary about being broke. And sometimes people act like you committed a crime if you can demonstrate that you got some loot, right? People act like that. Some of the political people want to be broke with an overcoat like Jesus, walking around with a stick through the desert, preaching the good word. No, no. The whole purpose of people who say that they are revolutionaries is to bring life. And life existed before European penetration and colonization. And African people did business and trade and navigation. They had products. They shared. They weren't ruthless. They weren't capitalistic, but they were creators of products, manufacturing, navigation, commerce, trade. So you as students, all of the young ones here, and you can be a student at any age actually, as long as you don't give up on yourself, have an important reservoir there for you if you will consider it. I graduated from Rutgers University and hold a degree in African Studies and American History. In addition to my degree, I have served in the community and developed curriculums for camps, for schools, for programs for children, have promoted concerts for up to 40,000 kids in Harlem on a regular basis, have organized within the hip-hop community, and am most likely the person who is trying desperately to move things in a different direction. Some of the things that we are up against is the whole concept of there not being enough people who are positive, so that when you are positive, you seem to be strange to everybody else. So what happens in hip-hop, which is interesting, is if you get one of these young black guys who has $1 million, and you're an intelligent black woman, and you say to him, listen, we need to do something differently than the way that we've been doing it. We need to produce fashions and trends which are different, radically different than what we are doing. That person will look at me, Sister Souljah, as somebody who is very interesting, because most of all of the other women that he will encounter will be trying to have sex with him. And that will be the primary goal, and there will be no intelligent discussion. They will simply just be sweating him all day, today, tomorrow, yesterday, and tonight, right? So what happens is I then stand out as being over-aggressive, because when he compares me to all of these other women, he says, Sister Souljah, you must have a problem. You're always angry about something. You're always wanting somebody to do something different than what everybody else is doing. So there is a necessity for normal young ghetto girls, B-girls, to become conscious so that you can start a trend which is different than the trend that you find yourself surrounded by right now. Right now, people would have everyone believe that the average young B-girl, the average young ghetto girl is like Little Kim or Foxy Brown. And to me, that is scary. You know what I'm saying? Now, if there's some girls out there who are not like that, you need to make yourself known. You need to stand up, stand together, organize, and produce things that work. Projects and programs that work, so that you can point to what you're doing and say, yeah, you know, that's Little Kim over there, but this is us over here. And this is what we do, and this is what we believe, and this is how we get down. See, because if we can't show that, then what happens is that image is projected all around the entire world. And then the black woman who's trying to do anything respectful is disrespected anywhere she moves, because the predominant image on the minds of every other group of people, whether they're whites or Arabs or whatever have you, is that the black woman is a slut like Little Kim. So I have female friends, for instance, that go abroad to study. I know a young sister who went to Saudi Arabia to study, and she said she had to come back home because she was so sexually harassed by men asking her, was she a freak like Adina? You understand what I'm saying? So here, Little Kim and Adina Howard don't understand how powerful they are as black women. So they don't understand that when they project that image, that don't just excite the people on your block. You don't just sell records. You create a visual image of African womanhood that is propelled to over 100 countries in this world and sets the criteria for how people will interact with us. I say to the young girls, a lot of times I go places and I see the young Muslim sisters, and I say, that's beautiful. If somebody can be disciplined in this society, wow, you deserve an accommodation. You deserve an award. At the same time, however, we need to hear from you. If you know something that other little girls need to know, you need to tell it. You need to tell it to them. And whether or not you assume that they're not going to listen, you still got to tell them. Because it is your job as a spiritual person to be a representative of what is right and what is good. And see, I'm starting to believe that a lot of the good people and the people of God, whether they're Christians or Hebrews or Muslims or believe in the Kemetic traditions or whatever have you, I'm starting to think that the good people think that the evil people are more powerful. And if you think that the evil people are more powerful, then they in fact will be more powerful, because that's what you think. Because if you believed in God, you would believe that God was powerful, and surely you would believe that God is more powerful than the devil. So what I would like to do at this point is just open up the floor for discussion. Hopefully I've given you enough information about myself that you know that my fields are history, politics, African studies, and hip-hop. And if you have a question or a comment, let's have a family discussion and see, can we leave out of here with anything that will benefit you as an individual, so that when we come back as a collective, we all have something that's positive, powerful, and productive to contribute. All right.
Yes.
First one, question, comment? Anybody? Souljah.
Thank you, my sister. The question I have to ask you is about the media in general. Should we as black people view the images that we see on television, listen on the radio, as our enemies, or is there some truth to that? Because I had the opportunity to go to Senegal this summer, and I visited 10 cities, and the question that the brothers had to ask me in Senegal, in Dakar, in all the cities was why are you black Americans in gangs, and why are we killing each other? That was the number one question.
Right.
You know, and I have to ask myself, if that's what they're asking me, then who in the world is giving them that image of us?
Right.
That was the number one question. So my question that I'm referring back to you now is, should we view the media as our enemy?
I believe that we should view the media the same way that we should view the educational system in America. That both of these are institutions that are arranged to maintain the present order of power, right? So what that means is that if the present order of power is white supremacy and white racism, whatever the media tells you will be to maintain white supremacy and white racism. Whatever your teachers tell you will be to maintain the people who are in power in the positions of power and to not prepare you to ever be able to take the positions of power, because the purpose is not to educate you, it is to get you to be a passive servant of the people who are in power. And so that is what will happen with the media. I think that when those brothers or sisters in Senegal put that to you, that it's important for you to also say that the number one thing that they say about Africans is that they're in gangs and they keep killing each other. You know, and they just don't call it gangs, they call it tribes, right? So when you look on CNN, do you ever see anybody doing anything, saying anything positive about Africans? I mean, everything is negative, and you have to look at it as, when I'm confronted with white reporters, one thing that I say, which is why they don't oftentimes invite me back, is, okay, but who do y'all like? You know, you don't like Mike Tyson, you don't like Mike Jackson. You get mad if Michael Jordan gambles with his own money. You don't like Jesse Jackson. You don't like us to talk about Malcolm. You know, you only like Martin's "I Have a Dream" speech and nothing else about him. Y'all don't like OJ. Y'all don't like anybody black. And ultimately, if you ask them, who's black that you like, you leave them speechless, because if you notice, everybody who's black, they have a problem with you. And they're going to bring you down in the press, unfortunately. So I think that we should look at the media as an institution of power that is arranged to maintain white supremacy in America. And even when you see the black media, oftentimes, they will not feel powerful enough to do something different than what the white media does. So you'll be watching the black media and seeing black faces and wondering, my God, well, why aren't they telling me anything different than what they're telling me on ABC and NBC and CBS? Because in order for them to be in the game, they have to be able to match the money, the ratings, the whole situation, because the game was not set up by them. So in order for them to be in the game, they have to submit to the process of the game. And in submitting to that process, they compromise their principles, and they are unable to do the things which they in their heart may want to do, but to stay in the game they will be unable to do. So if you ever see people, like sometimes people say, Sister Souljah, I used to see you on TV all the time. How come I don't see you anymore? Do you think I just call up and say, hey, I'm ready for another interview? No. They determine who you see and who you don't see. So if you don't see somebody, it doesn't mean that they're not in the struggle. It doesn't mean that they're not still organizing and activating and fighting. It simply means that they have decided that this is a person who they cannot break down and use for their purpose. And therefore, if the person is getting more out of being on TV than they are, then that person has got to go. And that's what happens. And that's why powerful leadership disappears from your television and your movie screen. Any other questions? Yes.
2 years ago, I was watching BET. I was watching Donnie Simpson.
Right.
That little show he has on in the afternoon. He had this young brother named Scarface on.
Right.
And played some of his music. And then he says, well, brother, you know, Donnie's so sickly sometimes. All he does is giggle. It's real silly to be as old as he is. But anyway, he asked his brother, he says, well, brother, they're always talking about what you say is going on. He said, well, why do you have such negative stuff in your music? And he said, well, brother, I only talk about what's going on in the hood. And I keep hearing this same old tired-ass line about what's going on in the hood. Most of the black people who buy this music already know what's going on in the hood. They live it every day.
Right.
Why is it that they're not talking about what needs to go on?
Right. Why are they not talking about what needs to go on in the hood and hip-hop? Because they're scared. Because they're scared. See, the thing that happens in hip-hop is because you see young, beautiful black men with big voices, powerful, strong voices, you start to think for some reason that they are soldiers or warriors. And they're not. They're just young, beautiful black men. You understand what I'm saying? And they get scared. And ultimately, if you notice, These artists evolve to a certain point and then they stop. When they reach that point, they stop and then they turn around and go in the other direction. It's because when they see the naked, raw face of power and evil, because they are not equipped with God's protection, because they refuse to discipline themselves and study, they're not equipped to fight the power because they have not submitted to the Creator, who is the only force who can defeat the power. You understand what I'm saying? So now if you are that #1 rapper and you got 20 girlfriends and $20 million, and somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I know that you know what is going on with black people, and I know that you are ready to be a leader of black people, and the only thing that I need you to do is to acknowledge the God within yourself. And the only way to acknowledge the God within yourself is to become the master of your desires instead of having your desires be the master of you. And that you have to get rid of these 20 women and this alcohol and these drugs. You can keep this money and do something powerful with this money, but you have to get rid of all of that. 99.9% of those brothers will pick the women, the drugs, the alcohol, and the devil over God. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what happens. And I think that what is also happening is I have been telling people that 1997 is the God era. You either get with it or you get a one-way ticket out. If you don't understand it, you will understand it. Right? And you see what's going on, right? Because black men want to use the power of God which resides in them, but they don't want to use the power of God which resides in them for God. They want to use it for self, which is an abomination to the African nature, which says that I is we and we is us and us is them and them is they, and we are all in this together. Some of them are legitimately confused because they have been processed through the same poor white supremacist educational system that processed all the other brothers and sisters in this community. And a lot of times I have to sit down the same way I sit down in our weekend school with children of the ages of 7 and 8. I have to sit down with grown men who are 25 and 26 and 27 and say, listen, does your music represent the majority of our people, or does your music represent you and your crew? Because the African tradition says that you must represent the majority. It is a European tradition for you to worry about you and your crew getting loot. That is not a black thing. And if you do this in 1997, which is the God era, you get a one-way ticket out. I don't kill you. No, God's people not going to kill you. But when you give up the protection of the Creator, you belong to the devil. So whatever the devil wants to do with you, the devil will be able to do with you because you belong to him, because you forfeited on your right to belong to God. So I think that is what is going on. So I think it's more than a political situation. It is like a vibe, a spiritual thing, a feeling. And I don't know how many people are in tune with their spirituality, but for me, I can feel the evil in the air, like just hanging there. It's like a feeling, and I feel it, and it affects me. But I still feel that God is more powerful than the devil. And I still feel that if people get right, and getting right means sacrificing and disciplining yourself of all of these desires which you have, I believe that we will win. But in the absence of sacrifice, which must come in order for you to be a warrior, you must sacrifice. There will be nothing. Yes.
I want to ask you a question about hip-hop.
you've got people like KRS-One and Goody Mob and J. Rue and people who give out, more better image. Is there a conduit in hip-hop that allows that to come through? And, what will happen to them? I think Chris has been pretty consistent. But what happens to younger brothers like that when they come up? And since part two of my question would be, since you have the ear of a person like a Sean Puffy Combs and having the knowledge that you have, when you speak to them, how receptive are they? And I guess you put the truth to them. They either ignore the truth or do what they do. How do they contradict? How do they reconcile that contradiction with themselves?
All right, the first thing, in mentioning KRS-One and rappers like that, how the system of marketing in America works is that you can successfully, with the right ingredients, market anything. Some rappers have taken it upon themselves to market African centricity, right? But once you market African centricity, what do you do next? Because after you spread the word, you must organize the word. But see, brothers are not scared to spread the word, but they are scared to organize the word. So what happens is even those brothers who are considered to be righteous and forthright step back when it comes time for the showdown. They're there for a lyrical showdown, but they will not be there for a political showdown. And I use as evidence, and everything that I tell you, I know for a fact through my experiences. It's not just somebody just saying this. That when you are in the mouth of the lion, they will not be there. Guarantee you. Because the only thing that they feel powerful enough to do is talk about it. Now, there's a few exceptions. You get a brother like Wise, Intelligent from the Poor Righteous Teachers. I see him, I always say, wow, that's a beautiful brother. And when he talks, you kind of like even can see the light that he has, that he carries with him. But now, interestingly enough, I don't see some of those brothers who should be uniting with Wise Intelligent uniting with him. And it's not because they don't know where he's at. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens is that when you are the type of person who is able to go to that next step and is able to move to that next level, you become isolated by even those people who say that they with you. But they not with you. It's just like them friends that when you get into a fight and you turn around and they just jet it, they bounce, they gone. They not with you, so they talk about it, but they good for this. Yeah, man, go on, knock them out. Go on, do that. And in the rap, it's even better because they can make it rhyme when they gassing you up. You understand what I'm saying? But when it's time to fight, it's going to be between you and that army of people that you arguing with. Because your so-called army is not there because they can't represent it. That's for you to determine. Who's real? That's for you to determine. I determine it every day with my own eyes. But what I use as my criteria is that I continue in spite of. Because I don't work for them, I work for God. You understand what I'm saying? So, in terms of the second half of your question, I talked to Puffy, and I talked to Big, and I talked to Tupac. And I think what happens is that a lot of black men are uncomfortable with black women who are not laying up under them. And I think that a lot of black men, because they were not raised by their fathers, are so tired of being directed by black women. And while they are tired of being directed by black women, they are unqualified to direct themselves. So therefore they reject the advice of qualified black women because they are tired of being directed by black women. and they rely on their own unqualified selves, and then they make a bunch of mistakes. So I think that is what happens, and I can say that with each of these three persons, I took my time to make it absolutely clear that you either will come into the light or you will go out in the dark. And I think that Sean Puffy Combs, as the last man standing, will take that advice. And I think if you keep watching, you will see that he will take that advice, because in the absence of that advice, not because it comes from me, but because it's right, in the absence of submitting to that advice, there will be nothing. Because it's either in 1997 that you acknowledge the God within yourself, or you will be in the hands of the devil. That's it. Yes.
As a special education teacher in Baltimore City, I would like to ask you a question as to why, or with the dilemma that's happening with our children being referred to special education at an astronomical amount. We have hardly no Black African-centered schools in Baltimore City, maybe one or two, and I understand that you write curriculums for Black children. What do you think that Black educators should do to keep our children from being railroaded into special education? I teach children who are 9 and 10 years old, barely know their names.
Right.
I don't know what's happening, and I'm really concerned about it.
Well, what I have learned about working with Black children is that if you were educated in America's white institutions as I was, you have to suspend what they taught you and do something completely different. Okay? And what you will have to realize is that the first thing that you've got to do with Black children is establish a bond which is based on love. You cannot go to a Black child, I don't care what city, I don't care where you at, and just give them a book talking about, yo, this is my man Marcus Garvey, read about it. One God, one aim, one unity. You cannot go to a Black child and be like, oh, this is ordered by Malcolm X, check it out. Because most Black children come to you, and the number one problem that they have is that they do not feel enough love. Period. And in fact, talking to Tupac, that was something that I felt from him. And that was something I used to point out to him all the time. Oh, so because you didn't get enough love, now you're just going to piss on the world. You understand what I'm saying? But what we have to realize is if you mess up that process of the child from the womb to about age 7, if you mess it up, you pretty much made a big, 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 big mistake. So the first thing that you have to do is establish love. And by establishing love, you have to show that you are not wedded to the regular situation, criteria, and structure of things. That you are not at 3 o'clock when the bell rings like, okay, die, move, go to the left, right, I don't care, just get out my way, I'm on my way out the door. You will have to deal with some of their extra problems, emotional problems, spiritual problems, family problems. So when I first started working with children, it took me about 1.5 to 2 years to establish firmly that I love them before I could even begin to educate them on specific historical Black things. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to abandon the whole concept of what is respectful communication and what is not. For instance, in my classes, we'll have one class where the whole day all we talk about is your mother's boyfriend. And the children get to talk about all of the psychological neurosis that they have due to the situation with their mother's boyfriend. And I even talk about some of the things that I disliked about my mother's boyfriends, right? And we have conversations in our classes that it probably to a lot of people would be amazing, because we talk about all this stuff, and I talk about, you know, when I went to buy a house, like the things that I encounter. So what happens with the children that I teach is that they understand clearly, first and foremost, that I want for them the same thing that I want for myself. It is not a thing where I'm just there to pick up a check and bounce. It's a thing where, look, I'm here for you, I love you, and I want you to grow, to be powerful and in control of your own situation, your own finances, your own family, and your own community. And that is the first level. Then what I also do is I design all of my programs so that it's on-hands training. And what that means is that before they ever get all of the books that I have for them to read, I take them to travel to different places so that they can see that there's a world outside of the block that they live on. So when we took our children to Howard University, we didn't tell them Howard University was a perfect place. We told them that it was a place in which they could go to get certain skills. And we took them to the science buildings and the architecture buildings, and we showed them all the academic stuff. Then we took them to a step show. Then we took them to the cafeteria. Then we showed them all of the clubs they can join so that they can understand and lose the whole concept that, and being educated means being corny. Being educated means you can never have fun. Being educated means never being cool. So we try to show them always a balanced picture of life. So we let them travel. All the places that we go, they travel with me. And then that way they get to see and experience it for themselves. And I think that after they realized that we were going to let them travel and see the world and see different places in the country, then when we gave them their academic assignments, they understood that in order to continue in this program, and in order to continue to get this love, and in order to continue to have these trips, they had to now enter a reciprocal relationship wherein I put in, the other teachers put in, and they put in order to make the whole thing work. And in the absence of reciprocity, which is an African principle, in the absence of reciprocity, of give and take, of each of us bringing something to the table, there would be no program. And once they understand that, then they understand that they are like stockholders in that company. It's not like that company acts upon them. It's like that company belongs to them. And if they don't put in their part, the company folds. And that's how I design the majority of my programs. Thanks. And the female in the gray scarf, and then you and you. All right, how you doing?
We tried to family love, sister love, we've given him and continue to give him strength and man support. And I need to know how to teach him to love himself. I invited him down here tonight, and he has a show, and I am lost. I am at a complete loss. I've done everything that I know how to do.
Right.
And I just need some type of input on how to encourage him to first love himself, so
right.
he can uplift himself.
Normally when I go to speak places, somebody always says something similar to what you say. Some of the young people that we are dealing with today will need something much greater than what a whole lot of the other young people that we're dealing with will need. And in the case of young men, you have so many different critical questions around manhood that in the absence of some type of military training, a highly structured, highly disciplined program for boys, in the absence of that, a lot of times, those particular young men will not change until some tragedy befalls them or somebody who they love. Now, one of the things that I always say is that don't feel like you have to stay on the same block all the time if it's killing you. So what may happen in certain families is that certain children are not equipped to survive the streets. Certain children's minds, no matter how many books they read, will not have the wherewithal to survive the peer pressure and the situation on the streets, and they need to actually physically be moved out of of that environment and out of that situation. This means that you have to be prepared to do some research and find out what kind of programs and options are available. And I'll give you an example. One of the things that I recognized was that our children were not being trained in the areas of science and technology. So one of the things that I did this year was I began to go to the bookstores and collect up all the books that talk about science and technology training for young people. And I discovered that there are camps that children can go to be trained to be astronauts at 13 and 14 years old, and trained to be computer experts and so on and so forth. The only point I'm trying to make to you is that there is something out there for every situation that you're confronted with. You have to do the research and find out where it is that you need to send your brother for that type of highly disciplined, highly structured situation. And you need to do it swiftly so that he doesn't end up in a boot camp being worked on mentally and psychologically by people who don't have his interest in mind. But you could use the public library system. A lot of times if you go to those reference librarians, it takes a little bit of digging, but you'll find places. And what I do is, when I find places for children which I think are going to be good for them, and I've read the material in the books, I go to the place and I observe it to see, you know, does it actually meet what it paints as a picture in the books or the pamphlets or the things that I found. So I would suggest that you intervene actively by finding out alternative situations for your brother. And I would also say that if you don't intervene actively, it probably will not be a happy ending to the story, because he perhaps is one of those young men who does not have what it takes inside to stand up and distinguish himself from the madness that surrounds him. All right. Okay, yes.
I'm talking to like a lot of white people and stuff. They feel as though black people dwell on slavery too much. And they say like the Jewish people went through the Holocaust, and why we shoot and kill each other, and like why do we call each other niggas?
Well, the bottom line is that people are always going to say that we dwell on slavery too much, and people are always going to say, but you know, it's not the white man anymore, it's you killing yourself. But normally when I do my lectures, I ask a question. How do you know if you're stupid? How do you know? How do you know if you're stupid? You don't know, right? Because you're stupid. You don't know, right? So here's my point. There's a whole lot of people talking about African people who haven't studied African people and haven't studied African history. They haven't studied white supremacy, and they haven't studied white racism. If they had studied white supremacy and white racism, they would understand that the end result of the process of white supremacy is self-destruction. So it is normal for black men to be killing each other because they've been processed by white supremacy. But see, but if you're stupid, you don't know. You just talk. You don't know. You're just talking, and you just don't know, right? So a lot of people are up talking. It's the black people doing themselves in now. It's them. Look at them. It's that guy over there with the gun. But if you understood white supremacy, you would understand that this is an actual stage in the process of being colonized. It's an actual stage in the process. It's a normal evolution of a white supremacist system. And so that's why it happens. The whole thing of us calling each other nigger, I think it's a normal thing that black people do, that if you beat them down with something and you beat black people down with something and you make it so negative, then black people take it, they make it their own, and then they change it. It's a normal process that happens in the black community. It's just like when the press gets finished beating up on Biggie Smalls, black people gonna be like, yo, that's my man, Biggie. Right? Because the press is beating them up. Black people don't like the press. So black people be like, ladies for them. Man, Biggie was my man. You understand what I'm saying? Now, it's good and bad. It's good because we understand that we do have some enemies. It's bad because then we relieve ourselves of the ability to constructively criticize and learn and grow from a situation that we observed unfold. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens is it's normal that if you keep doing something to a black person, the black person will find a way to turn it around and make it work for themselves. So now we were beat over the head with the word nigger. So now we take that word and say, ah, that's my nigger. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's right. I'm simply analyzing what happens. I'm analyzing the evolution of the word nigger and what happens with it. So they used it as a weapon of hate, and now brothers use it as a weapon of love to symbolize that this is my man, this is my man, this is the one who's there for me. You understand what I'm saying? And so now, some scientists would say it still embodies self-hatred. The use of the word still embodies self-hatred. And for many, it does. Because the majority of us, I believe, still have a certain amount of self-hatred in ourselves. And so you, as an individual, must decide, what do you believe? What and how will you study? Do you have the discipline to learn and evolve and grow? And do you have the heart that's big enough that once you learn and evolve and grow, to share? And as you strengthen and sharpen yourself, you affect other people. And then other people affected by you will do what you taught them to do in your wiseness as you evolved. And that's what the whole process is about. But I just really am against, like, the whole thing of just the aesthetics of revolution, you know, like, I want to look like a revolutionary. I want to have the right buttons. I want to have the right dashiki. I want to have the right dreadlocks. I want to have the right turban. But I'm not going to do anything right with myself from morning, noon, and night. And I'm not saying that everybody dressed like that doesn't do it, but I'm saying that too many people get caught up in the physical, not understanding the spiritual, and that every action that you take is a reflection of what your belief system is. You know what I mean? Okay, the brother right there. I'm coming around over here. I'm coming. Okay. Do I associate with any of the members of Public Enemy? Well, let me put it to you this way. My relationship with Public Enemy was pretty much the same as my relationships with most of the people in hip-hop. And that is that I was there in the beginning when they were first forming the band and when they had their album out. And I was there as an advisor to say, you know, these are the things that we should do. These are the things that will be best for the majority of black people. And the same problems that I have encountered with other groups in hip-hop, I also encountered with Public Enemy. And that is that if I say, look, if you put Professor Griff out of the group at the same time that you are under the pressure of whites, it will look like you surrendered. Therefore, even if you have a legitimate gripe with Professor Griff, you must look at the ramifications and how they will affect the majority of black people before you make a move, right? But now, the problem becomes that people who study are having discussions with people who don't study but have the decision-making power. So here I am, having read the books, walked the walk, talked the talk, done the work, and I'm having to convince people whose only acclaim is making the records. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that that's not a good acclaim, but it's a one-dimensional acclaim. And you have to bring those other levels to the table in order to do it the best way that you possibly can. So my relationship to Public Enemy in the past has been as an advisor. And I can only say that I think it was useful at the time. When It Takes a Nation of Millions was out, I thought it was extremely useful. I think that they did something incredible by setting and creating an environment that was receptive to African consciousness. I thought that that was miraculous. But my criteria is that once something has been as useful as it possibly can be to the majority of African people, I move on to the next most useful thing so that I can continue to be useful. And that's my criteria. So the relationship was not emotional. It was more functional, that this was what was moving at the time, and it was moving in the right direction, and where I want to be is wherever is moving in the right direction, or even be in a place where it's moving in the wrong direction if I feel I have the power to redirect it. You know, so that's my philosophy. I am recording. I have about 7 songs completed, and I plan to come out with an album. You should know, however, that the reason why I haven't come out with the album is not because I didn't want to come out with an album. It's because as a result of the kind of album I put out the first time, white supremacist interests whiteballed me, and that was that. The thing about being whiteballed is that it scares black people. So when you go to work with black people and you say, hey, listen, man, come on, y'all know I was whiteballed. They say, yeah, that's right. And then they leave you standing there right there by yourself. So I have regrouped, and I will make another attempt to do so. All right, I'm going to take you, and then I'm going to move to this side. Yes. How you doing? On welfare reform? I think that in different places in the country it will manifest itself differently. But the common denominator will be that the people designing the laws do not love you. And therefore, since they do not love you, you cannot expect that to be a cure for your illness. And if you are wise, you will prepare as many alternatives to welfare as you possibly can. And I hope that people are looking into and researching food collectives and collective work relationships with other people in your community who have talents and skills, because ultimately it may become like a slavery's back in effect type of thing. I don't know how many people saw the video that I made a few years ago, but it will become like that in the sense that I heard now in New York City it is a felony to collect unemployment and have a job. So what is happening is that there is a new wave of economic laws that will actually make your poverty a crime. And what will happen is they will have a law from everybody, for everybody. And when you go to jail, your mama will be there, your daddy will be there, your brothers and sisters will be there. And they won't have gotten on a microphone and say slavery's back in effect, report to Section 8. They won't have to say that, because you'll all be locked up in the same jail, you know, and you'll already be there. And it will be based on fascistic type of laws coming into place, but people who haven't studied not being able to identify them, and therefore not having prepared to fight against them. And people who are professionals identified them but didn't have the resources to battle them, and therefore they exist, and not only are poor blacks trapped, but professional blacks are trapped, and African people overall, everywhere we are, will be trapped. All right. Did you want to follow up?
My main reason for wanting to know your opinion on that is because in my neighborhood, a lot of girls that I've grown up with, they have children and they are on social service, but welfare becomes a big joke to them. They haven't graduated from high school. They don't really care about going to school. They just feel like, oh, this is fake. This 5-year thing is not going to happen to me, or they can't do this. And I'm like, it's going to happen.
Right.
But to them, it's like, I don't even want to say I'm forget them, the children, they're children.
Right.
education. One of my girlfriend's children, about 3 or 4, I asked her, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? A hustler. Because that's all that she is running in and out of her house. That's why education really means nothing to her. But I know that a lot of girlfriends of mine who are on the system really, they feel like I'm not going to be effective. They're going to get this check forever, or somebody from somewhere is going to give them. How can I encourage them to at least try to go get an education? It's not for your child, for yourself.
Right. Well, it is right now the era of the chicken head. And right now you got all these girls and their state of mind is at the level of a little Kim, say. And so they think, I'll get welfare, I'll get a man who has a fat ride and has got his loot on, and we'll hook up. And unfortunately, there is a real disaster at the end of the story that is waiting there for them. The only thing that I can see that you can do is continue to talk, because one thing that I find is that by me being an example, that people can see, oh, in 1980, Sister Souljah said this. In 1982, Sister Souljah did this. In 1984. Now it's 1997. I don't care if you don't like me, but you better respect me. Because I've been saying this and representing this exact thing for over 15 years. Right? So now, as you represent what you are saying to your girlfriends, what happens is time passes, right? They still see you. You still have money in your pocket, you're still healthy, you still have food for yourself, you still have a roof over your head, and as time passes, different ones of them will lose different things. And then they will compare. They say, well, damn, I still ain't got this, I still ain't got that, and she still got all of that. See, because the ghetto youth have been tricked, right? They are believing that hustling is going to give the answers to their life. And that's why they don't want to hear nobody who's against hustling, because they're going to say you a player hater, and they're going to shut down on you. They don't want to hear that. But the bottom line is that people who live a righteous life have to show that it is profitable to live a righteous life. You know, for instance, I lecture for a living and I teach for a living, and I do very well. I do very well for myself. I don't drink any alcohol. I don't take any drugs. I don't eat any red meat. I don't sleep around with anyone. I'm faithful to my husband. I'm the mother of my child. My point being this, that what I have to show little young people from urban situations is I didn't lose a damn thing by being positive. I didn't lose anything. Meanwhile, you hustling, looking over your shoulder. You have a life expectancy of about 20 years old. You understand what I'm saying? You're constantly getting shut down by the police. You know, you're living in a world which is seedy. You understand? You're probably going to get some kind of disease from some of these brothers that's running through different women and men, because a lot of these drug dealers are performing sexual acts with men, and then thinking that that is some act of power because they are doing that to the man, and they're showing their control. And then these sisters are having sex with these men who have just had sex with men, you see. And so you got this whole equation of you going with this hustler who looks all clean and fly, but got all kind of diseases going on inside of his system. Not only mental, intellectual diseases, but he's got physical diseases that will be transferred to you. So I would say to continue to stay in their lives even though you don't agree with how they live, and continue to be that everyday example of what could be done if they were living a clean and healthy life, and appoint yourself as a mentor to the children in the absence of the mental sanity of the parents. And by staying in cool with the parents, it gives you access to the children. Therefore, you could try to save the children. Right? Okay, I'm coming over to this side. I said, who was it? Anybody over here? Okay, you. And then you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Henry. I'm a senior at Baltimore City College High School. I'm also a junior advisor of the Mojo who stands beside me, and a senior advisor of the Shield who stands on my left.
Okay.
For 2 years, Mojo has been in effect at City College High School. And I only have we been effectively conducting toy drives, we done had socials, we done had poetry, we done had basically we've been in a newspaper, and now we are creating a newsletter, and we are also in effect of creating a radio program for youth in our city. But the problem is this: effectively, we aren't as effective in our school as we should be, because they think that we are racist. They think that we hate all white people. We do this. But like I said, we have socials. We didn't have everything to expose them to emotion. But yet they are still closing their eyes. And this is an 80% African American school. And we have traveled to 9 other high schools this year, and their reception of us has been very high. But their energy sense of focus after we leave, is high while we're there. Then when we leave, boom, it goes back down. So I'm saying that actually, as a great organizer and an advisor, look at emotions. Okay, so we are in the process now of reconstructing, so we can be more effective in our community here at Baltimore City Council.
All right. More effective organizing is the question. One thing that I always try to do when I organize is to organize things that will be successful, because I know that we in our community have bandwagon people. And what I mean by bandwagon people is that when you building a wagon, they don't want to help to build it. But when you got wheels and a hood on it, they want to get in and ride, right? So now, what I try to do is, even if I only have 5 people in my organization, I'm going to make this the most thorough organization that there could possibly be. And I'm going to try to get those 5 people to have as much access as they can to the most things that they can have. Then when other people see you having access to the things that you have and doing the things that you do, then they want to be a part of you. Now, if your organization gives off the impression that all you do is get together on Friday nights and complain about whitey, and that you just a bunch of angry, broke niggas, which is how the people from the outside is looking in at it, then they don't want to join that, because they figure they can be angry on their own block. You know what I'm saying? Why should they be a part of this? So the main question that people have with an organization, because they're not conscious yet, so you have to remember that. They're not thinking consciously, so they're not going to say, I'm going to join a Mosier for my own edification. No. The main question that's in somebody's mind is, what am I going to get out of it? Now, if your organization can show that your organization is successful, then your organization can get a lot of things out of it. Now, I'll give you an example. When I was in college, I used to attend a lot of conferences. And conferences were places where I could get a lot of information about all the different resources that went on, all the different programs. And I used to go to the programs and go to the conferences and come back and do a slide presentation. And some of my friends would joke around with me, the same friends that wouldn't join the organization. They'd be like, yeah, you always talking about you broke, but you just be going everywhere, right? And I would say, yeah, but I go everywhere because I'm a part of an organization. So as they saw me traveling, then they wanted to travel. So they joined because they wanted to travel. And in the process of them wanting to travel, they became conscious because they joined. But if there was nothing there for them to attract them, they probably would never have joined. So you have to develop techniques to market what you do and make what you do look and appear to be attractive. Another thing that we did was, we didn't isolate ourselves. In other words, we went to the same parties that everybody went to, and we went to the parties in the middle of the set. We used to go right over to the DJ, and we used to just command the mic. And we'd be like, yo, I know everybody's here to get their swerve on, but check this out, Thursday night at 9 o'clock, this is what's going down, this is where we need you to be, this is what's happening, this is what the issue is, and people would be like, damn, there they go again, but we did it anyway. So at that party, there might have been 500 people. We might have only got 50, but that's 50 people we wouldn't have had if we would have just been so, isolatory and so stuck up that we didn't even want to get down with the things they was getting down with at the places that they was at. Then at school, because we were on campus, we had like an inter-campus bus system. We used to get on the bus in the morning, Like, you know them people that get on the train sometime and beg? We used to get on the bus and be like, listen, my name is Souljah from such and such an organization on Tuesday night, blah, 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 blah. And here's a person in the audience, Sister Lorraine from New York, and she can tell you. We used to get on the train system in New York with flyers and tell people, the National African Youth Student Alliance is meeting at such and such, and this is what happened, and the police killed brother so-and-so, and this is what happened, and this is how it went down. So in order to organize something effectively, you got to be real bold. But what makes you bold is knowledge, right? Because knowledge gives you confidence. You don't feel confident approaching other people about what you believe if you don't really believe it yourself, or if you're not sure why you believe it because you haven't studied it. But once you get that knowledge, you get that confidence, and when you get that confidence, you'll approach anybody, and you'll say, listen up, this is what's going down. You need to know about it. I know you don't know about it, but you need to know about it. And this is what's going to happen. So I think that organizing has to be consistent and persistent, and that your organization has to be very balanced and very spiritually rooted. And what I mean by that is, if you got young sisters, you want to bring them into the organization, make sure you don't try to sleep with all of them. Make sure if you have a girlfriend, you got one girlfriend. Make sure that it's a place where women can go and feel secure, that they're not going to be molested, they're not going to be raped, they're not going to be psychologically abused, and they're not going to be played out. You understand what I'm saying? If you are men in the organization, then you have to be upright. You have to be moral. You have to be spiritually rooted. If you're women, you have to be the same thing. If you're a woman with power, you can't go flirt with everybody's husband because you're a woman with power. So is that if your organization is a balanced place that offers a refuge from the confusion, people will come. If it offers refuge and people find refuge and peace of mind in your organization, then they will come. But if your organization is confused, or your organization is not as productive, a lot of times people who are not builders will not come because they want something that's already shiny and on the road. They don't want something that they're going to have to create, which is unfortunate. Yes. Yes.
Our faculty, major part in this, because last year we had a mentoring program with the middle school. And the kids at the middle school, we went there and we mentored, we created a brother, big sister, little brother type bonding with eighth grade at Chico middle school. And when this got on the road 2-3 times after we went there, the people from there started calling saying we were doing a very good job, we were doing excellent, the people were very receptive of us. But our faculty said we couldn't go back out anymore. This year, we went to 9 high school, to promote unity within our urban areas as far as teenagers are concerned. And now we only went out twice. And there are certain organizations in our school they go out as many times as they want to. We only went out twice, we can't go back out anymore. So these are also effects of, and last year we wanted the step. Okay, we couldn't do that. This year, another organization can do it. And another thing, the sister had the 17-year-old brother, I would speak to her afterwards because maybe we can help her.
Right.
17-year-old brother.
Okay.
And I would speak to you also after that.
All right. Okay. It was something that I wanted to say. Let me see. The obstacles that you run into in the process of struggle are also things that you must organize around because they are educational tools. For instance, a lot of black people, when you complain about racism, don't even think that racism exists, right? They don't even believe that it exists. So say you get them to come to the organization. Now, they're on a roll in the organization. They're not in the organization because they hate white people. They're just in the organization because they're black and they want to do something positive. They become a tutor. Now, when the system comes down on them and says you can't be a tutor anymore, now is when you can teach them about racism. Because now they see, hey, I was just here teaching some kids. It was a beautiful thing. We were all brothers and sisters. Why can't I do this anymore? And that's when you show how the system moves to ensure the ignorance of the masses of the people, right? You point that out. Now the person has to be open and receptive to what you were saying. But sometimes it has a lot to do with style. how and when you say something, how and when you introduce something. It's like something that Elijah Muhammad used to say, that you wouldn't feed a steak to a baby. You understand? So when people get in the organization the first day, if somebody's parading around with an angry face saying, and these white devil racist pigs, maximum oppression, and it scares people. It really does. It makes them just say, oh my God. Then they go home and they don't come back. Whereas if you set up a tutoring program, which is an excellent thing to do, you encounter children, you teach them, it's legitimate. You're teaching them something that they need to know in order to evolve and develop. Now when you encounter a problem in your attempt to simply teach children, now you can politicize people and get them to understand how these things occur. But if you start off with just a political program, for a lot of people in America, it's very frightening, and they can't sustain it. Okay, yes.
And I think also as being a positive student organization, a lot of people in our schools are afraid of that.
Oh, yeah.
They're constantly in the home, constantly talking about our proud and rich African heritage. They are afraid of it. They say, oh, these people, they're black supremacists. When we're trying to do something positive, when we're trying to enlighten them, we run away from that. They look down at us, and our families, the ones who are supposed to be lifting us up, the ones who are supposed to be giving us help, they are the ones that are holding us down.
Right.
We're trying to find a way, trying to do something productive, trying to do something positive, but they're making it extremely hard to do that. And I also think, like, I hear me say, like the toy drive and going out to the schools, spreading the message of the movement. If we promote learning our
history, is you understand that the elders are not the elders that they would be in an ancient African civilization. They're Americanized, colonized elders who are just scared to death and happy as hell that they got to see the age of 55. You understand what I'm saying? So, whereas you have that fire, and that's good, and whereas you have that energy, and that's beautiful, and you should continue. I encourage you to continue. Understand, by studying the system, who all the other people are. All right? So you don't just understand yourself. You know, I'm black, I'm young, I'm beautiful, I'm African-centric. You understand yourself. Now understand the other players. Understand who they are, because it's just like a chessboard. It wouldn't be good enough for you to just understand that you are the rook. You would have to know who is the knight, how does it move, who is the pawn, how does it work. You would have to know who is the queen, who is the king, who's running things, how to protect, how to enclose, when to open up, when to shut down. You'd have to know that. And when you're studying white supremacy, you also have to know that, so that you understand, so that you can give it a name, understand it, and not just so frustrated that it causes you to leave the struggle, right? Because you understood it, because you analyzed it and you studied it. So you look at those elders who will not assist as people who have also been processed in a European-centric system. And therefore, they are not a reflection of African centricity. They are a reflection of European dominance. All right? So now, once you understand them, all right, I got it. I get it. I understand who y'all are. You still got a job to do. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not going to be easy. But as you do it consistently, you will gain respect in your community. And ultimately, you have to ask yourself, is that one of the things that you're looking for? Because if you're looking for respect in other areas, it's highly unlikely that you'll get it. Because all of the things you're saying you did, the toy drive, the school, the Black Panthers did that. But when most of the teachers who teach you about the Black Panthers, they say that they were just people who had guns and did violence. You know what I mean? And they shot out with the police and they died. You understand what I'm saying? They don't say, oh, they started the breakfast program and they started their free schools and they had schools in 13 urban centers. They don't say that. Right. See, this brother here is going to tell you all the other wonderful things they did. So never enter the struggle for credit. You're not going to get any credit. You're not going to get any. And I can tell you, because I I used to get upset when I used to watch the TV and I used to see certain people highlighted, and I used to say, wow, it's amazing to me. It's like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I went to school, I graduated, I travel, I study, I help, I'm good, I do this, I do that, and all they do is say negative things about me. You know what I'm saying? And then I see people who could have committed a crime, went to jail, got out of jail, they're heroes, they're stars, you know, and I say, wow, damn, okay? Then I see people get forgiven for things that they actually did wrong. And here I can't get forgiven for something that I didn't even do. You understand what I'm saying? So, believe me, it is a struggle. But if you get your protection from God and your glory from God, you will never have to look at any of these people for credit, because I can tell you, as somebody who is older than you, you will not get it. You will not get the credit. Your own people will give it to you after they've seen you do it for about 25 to 30 years. And look at somebody like Brother Malcolm. It took them about 35 years to admit that Malcolm X existed on film, and even in their admission 35 years later, they cannot take a non-watered down Malcolm X. So it's going to take them another 50 years to give you the unedited story of Malcolm Malik Shabazz. It's going to take them 30 to 50 more years to tell you. So don't forget about the credit. It's struggle. It's struggle, and you do it because it's right. And you humble yourself, you discipline yourself, you get glory from God, you work, you struggle to be one with God. That's it. Everything else has to become inconsequential and irrelevant, and all of the other players simply have to be analyzed and understood in the positions that they play and the ways in which they move. Yes.
Yes, Sister Souljah, I feel as though I know you and I don't. I read your book, and I want to tell you I think you're a beautiful person. But my question would be, oftentimes I feel that there's a misconception within the church that everyone in the church is a certain way, that they're good and they don't do wrong, and that's a misconception. But how do you see the church playing a part in this healing process?
Well, I think that there's a lot of things that the church can do. I think that any time that you own a building, it's a blessing, because it means that you can provide a space for people to meet and have intelligent and creative discussion and exchange, and that's important. And I think if the church sees itself as a center for people, even people who may not necessarily have completely found and embraced God yet, that if it sees itself as that would be helpful. I think that if churches, and I know that a lot do, could prepare real child care, which is enriching and protective of children and their mental and spiritual development, that's something great that churches can do. I know that the way churches are legally structured, a lot of times they can act as the conduit for taking over buildings and real estate and property and providing proper housing for people who don't necessarily have it. They can become the management and the administrator of a lot of different properties and businesses, and I think that that's something that enlightened churches should also do. I think that preachers and ministers, whether they're males or female, should always see God as their protection, and therefore they shouldn't hold back on the truth, so that they can become like the news station for African people. Once you've been killed by the 6 o'clock news every day of the week, that you can go on Sunday or Friday nights or Saturday, depending upon what your religion is, and get the actual story about the condition of your community and the direction that you need to move in. So I believe that churches are very important. The question for churches is the same questions for organizations, the same questions for Delta Sigma Theta and Alpha Kappa Alpha and Kappa Alpha Psi. It's, do you embrace your responsibility? And as long as you are embracing your responsibility, then you are serving the purpose that you were intended to serve. But there's no sense in being a fraternity without brotherhood, or a sorority without sisterhood, or a church without healing. Then it is almost as if you are nothing. So I think that the church can be as helpful as any other establishment can be. It just depends on whether the individuals who finance the existence of the church make a collective decision to be what they ought to be. All right. Sister in the back in the brown. Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you. Right. I came up with the phrase, "We are at war," because that's what I believe. And I believe that a war is not something that has to be declared. It is not as though the president has to get on TV and say there is war on Black America. It's that a state of war can exist whether or not anyone ever acknowledges it. Anytime anybody tries to take from you that which is rightfully yours, your freedom to think, your freedom to have your own culture, to worship your own God, to obey your own spiritual laws, to control your own political institutions, develop your own linguistic systems, teach your own children, control your own economic system. Anytime any system is erected which deprives you of all of those rights, that system has declared war on you. And that is where the term "we are at war" comes from. And I think when I was younger, one thing that was different than now is that I really thought in my youth that if I just tell Black people, you know, if I just get this information out, I thought there was going to be like this radical change, and that the real problem is that people don't have information, and once I give out this information, there's going to be a radical and dramatic change. And I discovered that you could give out this information, and a lot of people already had the information, and that many people had already given out the information, but that there were so many other dynamics that were operating that slowed down the whole process of people becoming aware and taking responsibility for their lives and fighting and becoming soldiers in the war that is not because you like to fight, but it's just been declared upon you in your existence. And that's how I came to the whole situation of "we are at war." In the context of male-female relationships, what I say is that young boys have to understand what the definition of a man is, and men have to understand what the definition of a man is. A man is somebody who first establishes a spiritual connection with their Creator. Therefore, you acknowledge that there is a force that is greater than yourself, and you agree to discipline yourself to the point where you will obey the laws as dictated by that religion which you embraced. So if you're a Christian, you follow the Christian laws. If you're a Muslim, you follow the Islamic laws. If you're Hebrew, you follow those laws. If you're an African spiritualist or Kemetic, you follow those laws. A man is somebody who gains discipline and mastery over their lower self and their lower desires, is not ruled by the consumption of a 40-ounce or a Philly blunt or a fat butt and a tight skirt, but is ruled by their own mind and their own observations and their own experiences and their own ability to respond to decisions based on intellectual capabilities and not physical desires. That a man is somebody who claims his woman, proclaims to his community that his woman is his woman, so that they understand that if anybody violates the woman, they have violated the man, and therefore they have declared war on that man. And that a woman is somebody that has 360 degrees of power, that she is not only physically beautiful because we were made in the image of the Creator. Being physically beautiful is no accomplishment for which you can congratulate yourself. That you are intellectually gifted, that you are the first teacher of all civilization, which means that you carry life into existence, all male life, and all female life. And that what you take into your body and what you teach and what you feel and what you experience will impact the development of the brain and the nervous system and the mind of that child before it even emerges into the body. And whether or not you share the colostrum from your breast milk with your child once your child is born, and breastfeed your child as you are supposed to do, will determine how balanced that nervous system is and how swift that brain calculates and moves. That a woman is somebody who teaches and establishes laws, because by what a woman accepts establishes the laws and the rules for the society. And if the woman decides that she's not going to accept certain things, and if a woman teaches all male children and teaches all women children, she establishes the laws because she taught the men how to be men and the women how to be women. Therefore, she is the most powerful force in the universe. Now, if you can understand these things, then you can have a successful relationship. But if you get any of these things out of order, you probably will not have a successful relationship. For men, I always say it's important that you look at every woman that you have sex with as potentially the mother of your child, and that therefore you will be connected to her for the rest of your life. So ask yourself if you want to get with her just because she has a fat booty and a tight skirt, or whether you want to begin to explore that mind and see what she believes and thinks, whether or not she's qualified to be a good and powerful mother and creative and intellectually engaging wife. Find out whether she can keep your attention and whether you have anything to offer her. So relationships will not work if the boy cannot evolve to a man and the girl cannot evolve into a woman. If both people cannot sacrifice and acknowledge the existence of God and stay together and centered and focused because God wants us to, and not necessarily because you like it all the time, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, or whatever have you. So I think basically those are the keys to male-female relationships. But it's really about being able to think, to take time before just responding to impulse, because too many of us are impulse. Soon as your dick gets hard, you stick it in. No. That's an impulse. It's a natural impulse, but your mind is supposed to discipline it. Soon as you see a cute guy, you get excited. Well, that's natural, but now discipline it. Now make a real evaluation of what are you dealing with. Do you know this guy's name? Do you know his last name? Do you know where he lives? Do you know where he works? Do you know what he thinks? Do you know if he loves his mother? Do you know if he ever met his father? Do you know if any of the things he told you are true? Did you check it out? Did you do some research? If you don't have answers to those questions, you definitely don't need to be laying on your back. There's no doubt about that. And to understand that sexual intercourse in 1997 can determine whether or not you live to see the next day. It is not just an activity for fun, as the movies will have you believe. Sexual intercourse can determine whether next year or 2 years from now you'll be 20 pounds and 5 feet tall, dying of AIDS or dying of some other disease because you made poor decisions that were impulsive instead of disciplined. All right, so I received a notice that I have 5 minutes, and that was 1 minute ago, so I have 4 minutes, and so we'll do 4 minutes and then we'll close it out in the back. Who influenced me as I was growing up? Well, the first person who influenced me is the first person who influences every male and female in the world, and that is the mother. Your mother is your narrator for life. So if the narrator is drunk, or the narrator is on crack, or the narrator is a whore, then you're in a lot of trouble, because all of your definitions will be out of order. But my mother taught me that she didn't have all the answers for life, but she would teach me how to read at a very early age, and she would get me a library card when I was 5 years old. She took me to the library on a regular basis, and that's where I developed the habit of reading. The first book that I read was about Harriet Tubman, and when I read that book of Harriet Tubman, it really created my standard for how much strength you're supposed to have as a woman. And I think that Harriet Tubman to this day remains to be the most amazing ancestor, male or female, the most amazing soldier that I have ever studied and read about. And anybody who has read and researched about Harriet Tubman, you know that she wasn't this old woman in a scarf, that she was a warrior. She was a woman who, just imagine somebody who was a slave on a plantation in Maryland, where we are, right? Who escapes from slavery through the woods and walks from Maryland to Canada. Now let me tell you something. Some of y'all don't want to walk from your house to the bodega, to the grocery market on. Here's what I'm saying. She walked barefoot a lot of times, a greater distance from Maryland to Canada. After she got free, she realized that there was no sense in being free without the people who she loved and was used to living life with. She returned to the plantation that she fled from and saved her brothers and sisters and anybody else who had the mind to go, and even saved some people who said they wouldn't go. Through the woods in the dark. Now how many people, some of y'all don't even sleep in your own bedroom with the lights out. Imagine being in the woods. Now don't think highways and freeways like what you see in 1997. Imagine being in the woods with the snakes and the owls hooting and the worms, and when it's raining, whether it's raining or whether it's snowing, and whether you have shoes or not, you're in the woods going back and forth from Maryland to Canada, and she did it 19 times. Now 19 times is only the figure that white historians will admit to. So you know she did it more than that. And you know as black women we're extreme, so you know she did it more than that. So my point is that early on, Harriet Tubman was my spiritual guide. And when I get low and when I feel down, I say, yo, if Harriet Tubman could walk through the dark from Maryland to Canada, you can handle this. That's the bottom line. And while everybody else was talking, because there was a whole lot of abolitionists and radicals and activists at that time, Harriet was getting busy. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what it's about in my mind. It's about being a soldier. And a soldier is somebody who is a part of an army. And the army is somebody who fights for a greater cause. And that's what I believe that Harriet Tubman did. So to make a long story short, my mother did the best thing that she could have done for me, which was to teach me how to read and to teach me how to research so that I can find out the answers to the things that I didn't have answers for living up in the ghetto, where you don't have a lot of answers for why everybody is so bad off. And if you don't go and research and get the answers, you'll think that that's how you're supposed to be too. And then you'll be destroyed from that point forward. The last question. Oh, let me see. Who's got their hand? All right. Who's in charge here? Somebody. Okay. What do you want to do? I want to take just the hands that are up, or you want to? Did you give me this note? Okay. All right. Brother Jabari says he can only take one more question. So, all right. The sister in the scarf and the, yes. What do I think about Erykah Badu? I like her music. I don't know her personally. What do I think about her message? Well, to be honest with you, I haven't heard the whole album. The only thing that I've heard is that single that is playing now. But let me just say this to you, as somebody who's in entertainment, I look at entertainment as entertainment. And I didn't used to look at entertainment as entertainment. I used to think that entertainment could be a part of leadership. My experience has taught me that entertainment is entertainment and that leadership is something completely different. I am always happy when any entertainer undertakes to say anything positive. I do not knock anybody for doing that, but I do not confuse them with the leaders, because normally entertainers have prepared their entire life to entertain, whereas leaders have prepared their entire life to lead. It is two different things. And the reason why it is important to remember that is so that when you find out that the entertainment was just entertainment, it doesn't cause you to have a breakdown. Because for a lot of people who can't separate fact from fiction and fantasy from reality, they go believing in these entertainers and their whole lives are destroyed. So I don't know the sister personally. I wish her the best, and I pray that she's successful in doing anything that is positive, in the same way that I pray that anybody who is doing God's work, if it is God's work, is successful. All right? Thank you. I would love to answer the rest of your questions, but out of respect for the brother, we have to close. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, I'm happy to say that the family of Brother Sean Freeland is here. So give him a big hand. Let's let her know that we will support her and organize and keep this case living. Did you want to say a few things? Okay. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Glenn.
How y'all doing out there tonight? I'd like to give special thanks to all of y'all for coming out tonight and supporting Reality Speaks. And I also would like to give a special thanks to our beautiful sister Souljah right here for her beautiful discourse. And I come up here tonight just to say a couple things before we leave, before we depart, about Reality Speaks. Reality Speaks is a young organization straight from the streets of Baltimore. Young men and women who are out here on the streets trying to renovate our communities, our people's minds, and our children. So right now, I want to ask a question, a quick question. How many people in the audience tonight would like to see us continue this work that we are doing? All right. So now y'all know, to continue this work, it's hard, you know. We need funds. We're going to try to raise a little bit of donations before we leave out here tonight, so that maybe one day our lectures will be free and we won't be asking for no donations. But right now, you know, I hate to say it, but we're gonna pass the buckets around. You're gonna see the kids coming around with the buckets, and I would like to say, give what you can give. You know, we take advice, we take anything valuable. Okay. And also, I would like to say that, you know, we are in search of a headquarters so that we can be more valuable. And this is where all this money is going to. And before we leave here tonight, I would like to say thanks once again. And all of y'all have a safe trip home. And y'all remember, keep your heads up when y'all leave here. Peace.
The book is available in the hallway. Check with Brother Tyrone. Her book is available in the hallway and she'll be signing books.
And here we go now. Listen, if I'm who I be the ruler like I'm with it, this need a swimming chick. Papa got a brand new bag. Mama got a brand new jag. Go tag. I ain't no old hag. I represent not only in the kitchen, in the bedroom, but also in the boardroom. So give me more room. Then I'm an opportunity, you in jeopardy. Don't set me free, don't hinder me, let me be. My pockets for freedom, I got the heat in case you need them, straight
the cousin of Sean Freeland wants to have a word.
Listen up. Listen up.
Thank you. On behalf of my family and everybody that I can think of that supported us, I would like to say thank you for supporting us and showing us your love. Because of the publicity that the case is getting, we are getting more attention than we were at first. It's a lot of things that happened that were confusing about the case, but because of a lot of attention, more attention is being paid to us because of the fact that we are speaking out, and I'm glad that we do have the support and the means of, I should say, media that is getting the information out. And a lot of things that were said and were portrayed about my cousin was not true at all. They wanted to portray him as this person of living a thuggish life, of not caring about himself, of being an aimless, driftless person that fathered 2 children that cared nothing about his children. And on behalf of my family and speaking, I'm glad that at least one person or 2 people in our family could at least portray to the media the type of person he was, because he was not the person that they portrayed. But in saying that, as long as we have the media attention that we're getting, publicizing the things that publicize about our young black youth, we're going to always be in the situation that we're in. And until we speak out and let people understand and let people know we are not the people that they portray us to be, they will always think of us as being these thuggish, non-caring people. And as long as you have a commissioner and a mayor sitting at City Hall condoning this behavior by his Baltimore City police officers, we will always have that war that Sister Souljah said we are having, because, as I said, we are becoming an endangered species. And they love it that way. And City Hall loves it that way, because our mayor still has a job. And until we speak out as a people and as a community and let them know, unless you are here to protect and serve us, the people that voted you in, you will not have a job. Unless the commissioner knows that we will not tolerate him shooting our young black men and say that it was justifiable homicide, he will not have a job. We cannot continue letting them destroy our young black men, because we are the future. And if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything. Thank you.
Recognition to the divine mind, which brought all of us into existence and brought everything that is in existence into existence. And that divine mind woke each and every one of us up here today. And we thank the Creator for life. We thank all of you for coming out today. And we say in Kiswahili, Asante Sana. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your answering the call. As Brother Gabriel Kenyatta has pointed out, this is the house over here of the victims, where we were signing you in at. That is the family of Chokwe Lumumba. Chokwe Lumumba's brother, Chokwe Lumumba's sister-in-law, Chokwe Lumumba's nieces and nephews. Chokwe Lumumba, who has struggled and strived, strained, and sacrificed for you and I for so many years.
That's right.
The revolutionary warrior lawyer, who, under the call of the Republic of New Africa, under the call of the New African People's Organization to take control of the 5 southern belt, black belt states, relocated to the national territory down there, where he's waging war against the white man. And the racist Mississippi State Supreme Court is trying to take his law license. He can't be here to fight for his family. But we are part of Chokwe's family, and Chokwe's family is our family. We have pictures where cars have been shot up over there. We are told that the house was encircled. We are told that the children over here were threatened with sodomy, simply because they called the police about the shenanigans taking place here. But, you know, that's a lot, you know. And unfortunately, the police, instead of coming and talking to them, came, because when you call the police, even if you start 6-7, you can start 6-7 me, but you can't start 6-7 Popo. Came to this house. So it alerted them. And that is when all of this began. Last week, the family had to leave out in the middle of the night and stay in a hotel. They are here today packing their things under the security of our being here. We want to create a situation where they will feel comfortable to come back into the house that they purchased. We're not here to beat up the drug dealers. We're not here to condemn them. We're here in a mission of love and a mission of peace to try to resurrect the mentally dead and to try to take them, just like Malcolm was a drug dealer, and turn them in from being menaces to our society into being a menace to the ones who put the dope into our hands, to the ones who put the guns in our hands and the mindset to shoot each other and stab each other and kill each other and sodomize each other and carjack each other. We want to turn it around to that. And we pray that the Creator and the ancestors will bless us in that. So it's a mission of peace. However, we don't intend on taking any ass whooping for anybody. Ashe? Can I get a witness? Ashe. Can we give God a hand clap? Yes, sir.
The New Marcus Guard, the movement, the Black Panther Nation is running this march. Who is running this march?
New Marcus Guard. Oh, excuse me, that's weak as hell. Who's running this march?
The reason why that is important is because we don't want anyone doing anything here that is not authorized by us. We are responsible for this march, and you are falling in line under us so that there won't be anything going on that's not authorized by us. We must stay off of their property. Now, we do plan on trying to speak to them. And after that has taken place, then we're going to stay off of their property. Their property line starts right there on the other side of this driveway. And the sidewalk is city property, this is city property, and that's city property. This is fair game. Do not walk on their, do not allow 1 foot to step across that line. Is that understood? Yes,
well,
yes.
Got to be by the land.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. Okay? So,
all right. So you, me, silence. We'll go up. Everybody else, stay back. Ashe? Ashe. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Taking back our streets. 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 Our neighborhood. Our neighborhood. Our streets. Our streets. Our streets. Our streets. Our streets. Our streets. Black power. 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 Black power.
saw somebody breaking into her house last week. Breaking in her house. The police got the MO of the person, and the police saw that person run down that way. Actually, I was the one who called the police.
Well, we can appreciate that, my brother. When we weren't here about the break-in, we were here, Paul's here, because there was houses that were shot at, allegedly. People are shooting at the cars, and we have the pictures, shooting at the...
I stay on the corner, the same thing happened to my
People have allegedly...
We got a club of
People are allegedly doing drugs. We're well known in the community for this. People have allegedly been dealing. People have allegedly been shooting at the people. People have allegedly threatened to sodomize the children. They had to leave out in the middle of the night into a hotel. They don't feel comfortable to come back over here till we're here now. We're not accusing anybody of anything. We came over here in peace to talk. In peace. We're not menacing you. Nobody's brandishing any guns. We come in love, and we come in peace to talk.
It's a big misunderstanding. They moved over here, and I work on afternoon. I know what some people do. So this has been called, since I've been living on the block, at least 3 or 4 times. It's always alleged that it's coming out here because these young brothers here trying to put out music, okay? And sometimes it's a lot of them, okay? They're trying to get everybody be disciplined, trying to do a whole bunch of different things. Matter of fact, they got a CD down at the store down here. You go check it out. It's called Bicycle. They got them up here. Sometimes they crowd together over here, and it looks when a bunch of brothers and sisters get together. No, wait a minute, sir. And from what I can see, I've never seen no witness. I'm a good brother. I work for the state of Michigan. I'm a role model for my young brothers in the neighborhood. They see me go to work every day. Now, I've never seen anything. Now, I did hear about it. What happened last week, I was outside. A young brother came running from around the corner. He said, can you call the police? I mean, the ambulance. I said, sure. Boom, down the phone, hello, 911. I really couldn't say what was wrong. I gave him the phone. I'll be right back. Come to find out, he had just broken this woman's house. He took off when he saw 2 police come down here. He took off, the police didn't catch him. And where the cops come to? They came straight here, sir. They came here, straight here, based on what she alleged. What she alleges, sir. No one has no concrete proof or anything. And if I said, like I told the police, after I found that brother broke in the house, I came down here to the police.
I can appreciate you. Oh, brother, I didn't get loud.
Right there, I'm just right now, so they looking at me all crazy. No, she's looking at me crazy. Don't nobody go over there and step to her like that. Fine. Well,
you're looking for a confrontation.
I ain't looking for no confrontation. I've been over here for 10 years, and y'all come walking across the street with somebody, everybody on the block having problems with.
We came in peace, brother, and hopefully we're going to leave in peace. We came in peace, and we plan on leaving in peace. Don't feel afraid.
If y'all want to start us, y'all do y'all want to.
No, it's already been started.
I guess I got to sit here and lay down. We're not going to get anywhere here. We're not going to get anywhere arguing. We ain't going to get anywhere arguing. We ain't going to get nowhere talking and arguing. Nowhere. It was alleged that the information is coming on from over here.
No, that's because she's lying. Everything that happened on the street is not.
Does she have any pictures? By now. I'm going to tell you. When they broke in my house?
I don't work. I'm asking for pizza. You know what? Pizza.
Wait a minute. Who this guy? All I know is, ma'am, I saw the young brother who broke in your house last year. I'm the one who called the police. Right. Okay, that brother might have done that too, ma'am. I don't know. Right, we talking about peace?
And I'm saying, I feel sorry for you young brothers, because y'all don't have a clue. Y'all think you see what I mean? I mean, your means of trying to solve something is with guns.
No, ain't nobody been shooting over here. There don't nobody shoot over here. And you don't have to know me, I know you. Y'all, come on, man. I live on the corner, ma'am. I know them more than you do. I'm vouching for this house. This woman been here for me since I've been here. She helped me out. So no, fuck that. This is a good woman. Y'all ain't got to come over here for all that. Maybe maybe these teenagers or whatever y'all want to call them, maybe they will probably be uproar without her. So she let them congregate over here because they ain't got nowhere to go. So once y'all find something in the community for these kids to go out somewhere, well, where's it at? Where's it? We gonna come here and bash her?
We're not bashing anybody. We're working on cleaning up the community.
They need that, man.
You don't know. You don't know, man.
I know, because I see you on TV and all that.
Then you know who we are.
I know about you. I respect y'all. But y'all got to respect this woman, too.
We'll respect
I respect all of y'all, but y'all got to respect her, too. Y'all could, one of y'all could have came knocked on her door.
You want one to come? I tell you, here's the knock on the door. Everybody, except Gabriel.
Then you got the white newspaper coming over here with their cameras on. But we got to be together.
Everybody step back.
Down, folks.
You stay near.
She divided
We're
us.
talking.
Just like the second school. Everything in Detroit so messed up. School board. Now this on my block.
You're talking to us, brother. You're talking to us. Everybody else is back.
It's something to think about what he's saying. The young people don't have
They don't have nothing to do.
So they come
So
to
they,
this house.
hey, fine. Because we know there ain't going to be no violence over here.
And decide they don't want that. There's nowhere else.
How many blacks can sit on the porch? 2. Next time it's more than 2, I call y'all. Next time it's more than 2 on the porch, I call y'all.
I can't hear all 3 of you at one time.
Many times I would have had
Half of the people's children in this neighborhood come to this house.
To this house.
And congregate and have a good time to stay in safety.
Because she lied.
To stay in safety. To stay in safety. So that their kids won't be out here on the street and get hurt by somebody else. If none of y'all live in this neighborhood, you shouldn't even be here. Because you don't know what's going on in this neighborhood. We live here. We live here.
Can we talk to this brother? He's calm. Can we talk with this brother?
All calm. We're all very calm.
Okay. Well, we're trying.
I just think this is so disrespectful to a black woman from our black people. Like my husband said, you all are going to bring the newspapers in, other ethnicities that are going to take us down. They're going to make us look like we don't have anything. That we can't come in as a community together and relate to one another. That's what it looks like.
Can we say something?
If you wanted to say something, you would have been on that side of the street, taking care of it from that house.
I got my own sister looking at me crazy, because I come over there and check on my wife.
Can I say something?
Don't get loud.
Okay. I'm not loud.
Yes, you are. It don't matter in my block. I talk as loud as I want.
Okay, so we're not going to get anywhere then.
Well, it's fine. Y'all shouldn't have been over here. That's what I'm talking about.
Let's march. Let's march.
Let's march.
Let's line up and march. Line up, march. Come on, right here. On the sidewalk. On the sidewalk. Shut it down. Let's go. Let's go. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. All the way here, Malik. Single file line, Joe. Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut the crack house down. Take them down if they ain't going. Take them down. They can't hear you with this. Shut it down. Shut the crack down. Shut the crack down. Shut the crack down. Shut the crack down. Shut it down. Shut the crack down. Shut this house down. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut the crack down. Shut it down. Shut the crack down. Shut it 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 down. Shut the crack down. Shut the crack down. Shut it 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 down. Shut it down.
Between me, all I know is Natalie. But like I told her, I said, I'm tired of you every time somebody's sitting at my house. The cops pull up at my house. So.
Now, you live with your grandson and your son. What do they do for a living?
My grandbaby is 11 years old. He don't do anything for a living. My son is employed through Express Personnel. He just got, he was working for Farmer Jack, but when they laid off, so he's been through Express Personnel. So that's it. Yeah.
So I spoke to Darrell, and he said actually they do music here, record CDs and all that. Can you speak to that?
Yes, because I said they have a rap group. It's called Fam First Entertainment.
Fam First Entertainment.
Right. They are trying to get out here in the world. So that's what they're doing. They make their CDs and they sell them. So that's the extent of their little music business.
So you think these people should have come and approach you first before they...
This don't even make sense for her to come out here with all these people. I have not spoke to this woman, but the one time that the cops came out here, and that was sometime probably back, I say maybe February, I believe it was. So now, and she talking about she come to discuss peace. You bring all these people out here in front of my house, scaring my grandbaby, and you will tell me you come to talk peace. Why couldn't you come to me on one-on-one? You wanted a one-on-one with all them out here, so how come you couldn't talk to a one-on-one with just me and you? And like I told, every kid on this block has been here at my house. I have kept people's kids, I take people, wherever they want to. I'm like, whatever somebody...
So you're more or less like the custodian in this block.
Because I've been here, right. And like I said, I done raised every kid on this block. Every parent on this block have sent their kids to my house at one point or another, everybody but this woman. She's been here, I guess, maybe about 4 years. Okay, like I said, I done raised everybody on this block.
So the cops have raided this house many times, but they have...
The cops raided my house twice for the mere fact that they said that somebody, one of the undercover officers bought something, but which was a lie. No, they did not. Like I said, the last time they said they bought something for my son, I had 2 sons, which he left a long time ago. He was at work. So no, they didn't find anything at my house, but it's because of this right here. And it's stemming from that woman right there. That's where it's coming from.
So are you disappointed?
Yes, I'm disappointed. Why would I want all this out here, like I said, and they scaring my grandkids? Yes, I am. Because, like I said, she ain't trying to do nothing in no peaceful way. You call this peaceful? Is this peaceful?
Now, if they agree to sit with you and talk, would you talk with them?
First of all, I want to know why they all come out here in front of my house like this. Okay? That's what my whole issue was. If you wanted to talk to me, it wasn't no need to have all these people out here in front of my house like this. There was no need at all.
Okay, anything else you wanna say?
I'm just tired of her always calling the cops. Like I say, my people that be over here, she has company. I don't bother her. I shouldn't have to be bothered when my people come to see me. Yeah. And she keeps talking about all the neighbors complaining. I said, we take a survey. Like I said, all my neighbors, I heard somebody say that we threatening the neighbors. That's the last time she said we threaten the neighbors. If I threaten the neighbors, my neighbors wouldn't come and visit me. They wouldn't let their kids come down here to play with my grandkids. So I don't understand where all this threatening and intimidation is coming from. I don't bother my neighbors. I talk with my neighbors. This is one of my neighbors from down there. I said, like, I know everybody from Mark Twain to this end and back. They all come over here to see me.
Yeah, can you say your name again? Your first and last name?
Sue Strickland.
Sue?
Strickland. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So, Darrell, let's get back with you because now what if these people decide that they want to sit with you and talk about this? Would you?
Yes, we definitely agree to talking. Actually, I just spoke with the gentleman, and he's interested in talking with Miss Strickland.
So do you think a dialogue should have preceded this protest?
No, I don't. I don't even know what this is all about. Only thing I know is that the lady alleges that activity is going over here. Like I stated earlier, I was the individual who called the police last week when someone broke in her home, and the police saw the individual.
So you're saying if you had called the police, on somebody breaking her house, it doesn't make sense to say that somebody from this house is breaking into our house because you saw.
And the reason why I came down here, when I saw that the person had broken into the house, after I figured it out that the individual had broken into the house, I came down here to tell the police so they wouldn't come over here. And the police saw the guy cut through the houses, et cetera, et cetera.
And this was when, last week?
Last Saturday.
Last Saturday.
Around 11 a.m.
So are you disappointed that these people showed up here?
Oh, no, I'm not disappointed by no means. I'm glad they showed up. Actually, I never knew this type of organization existed in the city.
So this is a learning process?
Yes. Yes. Repeat that again?
I said this is a learning process.
Yes. However, I don't believe the march needs to continue. He explained to me that the people were talking loud, so that's why they started the march, because no one would listen except for myself. So we're going to try to make arrangements for him and Sue to talk.
So the allegations that there's a drug house and criminal activity, it doesn't exist?
It doesn't exist as of now.
As of now?
As of now. Or in the past that I know of.
In the past that you know of?
Right. A police raid was done on the house about 2 years ago. Okay?
Did they find anything?
Nothing. Or they would have taken the house.
Mm-hmm.
They would have on the sign and everything. All because this lady alleged that.
So these are allegations that, have not yet been proven. Nothing has been proven.
Nothing has been proven. Again, if someone is doing something to you, we have video cameras today, technology. We have cameras, video cameras, surveillance. I mean, it's so much that you could do to see who's doing this to her if it is actually happening. I've done it. My house was broken in on February 25th, 2002. Ever since I put up a surveillance system, I had no trouble because, of course, I let the neighbors know, too, that, hey, I got a surveillance system, don't mess with my house. I would have been trying to do something.
Now, the lady speaks of a personality conflict between her and this woman. Why do you think there would exist a personality conflict between these two neighbors instead of this house and this house, that house and that house?
Because Mrs. Strickland is well known throughout the community. She supports, again, the children in the neighborhood. She's very visible. And I don't know. I know sometimes people have problems with other people for whatever difference. It could be your skin color, okay? It could be your children, okay? So I have no idea why they would have a conflict. Only thing I know is something happens, it comes from over here. It doesn't come from over there. It comes from here to here. That's it. No one else has a conflict. She's hollering and screaming at me, don't even know me. But she's hollering and screaming at me because I'm on Sue's property.
Now, the mission of this group, they say, is to get rid of drug abuse, in our communities, because drug abuse is a menace in our communities. Do you support that whole idea and mission?
Oh, I definitely do. We need more organizations like this to go throughout the community and march for known drug houses. Like they should be on Decatur, not on Mark Twain. You follow me?
It should be on what street?
It should be on Decatur. Okay? And Garland and all that back here, not on Mark Twain.
So when you say that you know of drug houses in those other streets?
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
So would you give them that kind of information so they can march on those houses?
Sure would. I sure would give them that information with no problem.
So you seem to know about this, the operative in drug dealing, do you?
Yes, I do.
How?
It's in my community. I see it every day. You can't help it. It's on billboard signs. It's in the magazines. It's on my television. It's everywhere. So that's how I know.
I mean, those houses you mentioned, I'm like, how do you know that those houses are drug houses?
Because you see a lot of activity. You see the activity at the stores. You can do your own surveillance. Stand across from the Comerica Bank and just watch. But you ignore it, we ignore it, and keep on moving. because we don't have time or we don't want to get involved because we don't want to be shot at, etc.
So the allegation that the same activities on those streets exist yet is not true. It's unfounded, it's not true, and it has never been proven to be true.
Correct. It's never been proven to be true.
Anything else you want to say to these allegations?
I have nothing else to say. Well, let's let this play out, and hopefully we'll come to some type of agreement.
Okay, thank you very much.
Who got in the car and drove out. Lives here. Is his name Wee? We know a little bit about him. I witnessed him driving down the street backwards in his car. So just like many of us, when I was his age, I was wild. When he was his age, I've been knowing him since we were wild. We did stupid, wild things. Right. But adult people have to come and tell young brothers that they're wrong. Okay. We're here, sister, to tell him that he's wrong. Now, we understand that young people come and they congregate where they're welcome. Right. You have made them welcome. But what you have to understand, sister, is that they're making you and your household look. If it's not drugs being sold, it's making it look like there is drugs being sold. Now, we also understand that if your house is raided one more time, the county is going to take the house.
The county prosecutor's office.
They're going to take that.
And can we say something?
We don't want that to happen.
We don't want that to happen, but the program, the county prosecutor's office has adopted that if it's raided 3 times, they take the house. That's our program. They adopted it from us under the former prosecutor, a white boy, Mike Douglas. Now a sister in there, Kim Worthy. But the program is continuing. So your house is on record for being raided twice.
You don't want to lose your house.
And we don't want you to lose your house. That's not why we're here, is to have you lose your house or to have you or your family feel threatened. That's not what we're here for, and that's why we tried to talk. We came up to talk to you, but when all the yelling and screaming, we couldn't get nothing done. So I said, let's march. Huh?
It wasn't necessary to come out here with them. It wasn't necessary for you to come to my house to talk.
We do not know that. You know
we roll in numbers.
But still, it wasn't necessary.
Well,
You got the police out here, so it wasn't necessary for all the
my sister, this is our posse, and we roll in numbers. When you march on drug houses, and when you march on police stations, when they selling dope, when you catch men dragging girls in the alleys and deal with them, you need numbers. We roll strong, but our message is of peace and love and unity. And I get many threats on my life because of these activities. So we roll deep, but we wanted to talk and to work it out. We want to work with you, not against you.
From what I'm hearing from you guys is that this is a misunderstanding.
You know what? If y'all would, y'all can ask any of my neighbors.
Actually, ma'am, we have.
We talked to your neighbors, and can I tell you something?
What?
No offense. Your neighbors, I'm not going to tell you which one.
Okay, don't tell me.
Some this way and some that way. Have said that everything, the charges that are being made by the Talaferros across the street is true. They said it's drug dealing. They said it's clowning and carousing. I'm just telling you what they said.
And we witnessed it. Now, sister, everybody wants to live in a nice neighborhood. How long have you been living here? 29 years? 29 years. Well, then you've seen many changes.
That's why I raised every kid over this block. Every family of kids has been here.
We can appreciate that. We can appreciate that.
I'm quite sure like the family, the parents that be at my house, okay? They ain't gonna let their kids come to my house. My son plays with their kids, the little ones.
You know, some of the time, it may not be you selling the drugs. It might be some of your son's friends.
You know what? I can do one thing.
You do not know everything that your son's friends do.
But I know my son's friends not gonna come and disrespect me. None of these young men come to my house, they don't ever respect me. If some of these neighbors want something, all I gotta do is I see when I'm passing by, I say, hey, you, go down there and see what she wants. Hey, none of these young guys come here and disrespect me. That's why I'm well liked. I know I'm well liked in this neighborhood, like I said, because I have helped everybody here. This is another one of the young men that be at my house. He live on the end. He lives at the end block.
Let him sit down. Let him sit down.
He lives at the end block.
How you doing, brother? You all right?
I done helped him. I done took him wherever. Anyway, his parents, they let him come down. He lives at the other end of the block down here.
What happened, officer?
Huh?
What's going on?
We're doing drugs and threatening the neighborhood, I guess.
Hold on. Well, my brother, you might want to walk away there if the camera's on you. How can we solve it? Today. How can we solve it today? Okay, we got to do.
One, it wasn't necessary for her to come here. Then she's going to get with y'all, and then she's talking about let's talk. She hasn't talked to me in all this time. You see what I'm saying? She hasn't said one word, and I haven't said nothing to her.
Somebody's shooting her car up and
threatening to sodomize her children. She probably's not going to talk.
But listen to me. So why is she saying it's coming from me?
From your house.
What I'm saying, how did she know it's coming from my house? You see what I'm saying? Every time something